Welcome back to Bold of You to Say. We're back with another episode, a very long one.
I make no apologies.
We started out talking about WandaVision, the insane fan theories. Talked about that for a little bit.
We talked about some Star Wars stuff.
Oh yeah, we sold out the Star Wars quota.
I'm trying to remember the other stuff though.
It's all listed out. And there's
it's been 3 hours ago. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. But then our main topic, we got into a bit of a Spider-Man 3 retrospective. I
wanted to do a rewrite.
Yeah, we did a breakdown of the plot. Then we went into a rewrite of the movie. It wasn't so much a rewrite as much as it was just a lengthy critique. And there's timestamps listed out down below, so you can skip to whatever topic you'd like. If you want to skip ahead to a certain part, if you want to skip the plot recap, you can. And just jump straight into the critiques, or if you want to skip the intro part, which I don't know why you would. It's a fun time.
This is where the sauce is located.
Yeah, it's the sauce. Follow us on social media. That's all linked down below. Like, subscribe.
Follow my gamer tags.
Yeah, follow Jared's gamer tags. friend him on Xbox. Friend him on Steam.
But you have to send me a message first telling me that you're where you're coming from, because I don't just accept everyone I see.
Yeah, tell him.
Tell him
we sent you.
Yeah, tell him I sent you to go follow me. Like I was saying though, it's like this podcast is like a sandwich. The first word is the first bread, and then the rest of the intro is just all the fucking sauce we put on it.
It's like
we basically have a soup.
This
sandwich.
podcast is like a sandwich. It's delicious.
It's delicious. It's girthy.
I don't like that. Anyways,
on with the show.
When I saw that Floyd Mayweather charges $999 for a cameo, just to say hi to you, like, imagine, like, you could buy like most of a PS5 with that.
Yeah.
You can get a Valve Index for that amount of money.
Or you could get Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, you could get like a really good gaming PC that will last you for years. Or you can have the guy that's good at punching say hi to you. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. You know Jack's Films, right?
Yeah.
Guess how much he charges for a cameo?
$50.
$69.
Ha, nice.
That's probably the amount that I would charge.
No, I was going to say though,
even if I couldn't make that much money, like even if I can't justify charging that much, it's still a funny sex number.
Yeah, 69 cents.
Yeah, I might do that. 69 cents for a cameo.
Oh, I'm going to do $1 cameos. I will say anything. Just tell me what it is and give me $1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with this show. I want anyone that donates any amount of money, I will read anything that they say.
Okay,
even
when
if
you
it's
say
personally insulting, I will still do it.
What if it's racial slurs?
Okay, I draw the line at saying racial slurs out loud.
Out loud. You just whisper to the microphone.
Yeah. Just the N-word. Still better than Adam Driver.
Oh, what did he do?
Okay, he didn't. It wasn't Adam Driver himself doing it. Are you familiar with the movie Black Klansman from a couple years ago?
Yeah, with Childish Gambino, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know who's in it actually. I haven't seen it. It's supposed to be good. I just don't see a lot of movies. But Adam Driver is in it, and a lot of like a lot of people post Disney in their career, he plays a racist guy.
Yeah, that's a very weird connection, but it is common.
Yeah, like I thought of it earlier. Like David Henry, the guy that plays the brother from Wizards of Waverly Place, the older one, not the younger one.
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that I saw him in after Wizards of Waverly Place was a movie that I don't know. It was a movie that my mom liked that they did. It was like one of those like made for TV movies about how like it's one of those like white savior movies where it's like a little black girl meets a white lady and she solves racism. It's one of those kinds of things. And
you mean one of the new Jodie Foster Doctor Who episodes?
Got him. I haven't seen that, so I can't attest to it, but I will take your word for it.
Before we go on, I want to tell you this because this is stupid. They have an episode where Doctor Who visits Rosa Parks, and they try to imply that it all sound good. Yeah, it goes exactly as you expect. Oh man.
So what happens?
Well, basically, like, you know, racism happens and the Doctor saves the day.
Oh, does Doctor Who end racism?
Well, not quite, because, you know,
and then everyone clapped.
It's one of those things where I know what they were trying to go for, but the execution was stupid.
So Doctor Who, the way that the like time travel works, like if
certain events can be changed unless it's a fixed point in time.
Whatever the fuck that means. I think I've heard of that, but
it's like huge historical events that like change the course of human history. Like one of the episodes during the David Tennant era, he went to Mars and he met like one of his personal heroes who was like this like big like scientist lady and shit like that. And she was supposed to die. And he was like, no, I can save everyone. The humanity will advance beyond their dreams if I just do this. And he can't, because if he does that, time will get fucky. Because, like, you know, it's a big thing like that. That whole everyone dying on Mars thing is like one of those like national tragedies and shit. It's like if you go back in time and remove 9/11, shit's gonna be different nowadays.
So it's like a reverse butterfly effect.
Kinda.
So Doctor Who can't stop Hitler from rising to power.
No, he can't.
But could he
like there's actually an episode where he wants to kill Hitler, but they can't kill Hitler because it would fuck everything up.
Right. Okay, so you can't kill Hitler because then he wouldn't rise to power. But could you on whatever day he gives his like most famous speech, could you just like give him expired meat for his breakfast and give him the shits all day? Because you're not killing Hitler, so you're not altering the timeline too much, but you are giving him violent explosive diarrhea.
If it's on one of his famous speeches, it probably won't work because that is another like big turning point in history is Hitler's speeches.
But any
like
normal
any
day,
political person's speeches. Yeah, if you just
any
like
normal day, you can
Hitler,
give Hitler food poisoning.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't die or get like horribly like disfigured or damaged from it, fuck it. Like I think they actually beat him up in that episode. I think they knock him out because someone's trying to kill him, and that episode was weird because someone's trying to kill Adolf Hitler, and the Doctor's like, oh, we can't let that happen. Time will get fucky wucky if that happens. So the entire episode, they're trying to stop assassination attempts on Hitler, and it's just like, oh, okay.
That just feels gross.
It does, but they do beat him up at the end of it, so it's okay. They redeemed themselves a bit.
So the time travel rules are
fucked. Although it's weird.
What's the point of time travel if you can't? So wait, so you can't change fixed points in time. So you can't change anything to Hitler.
Nope.
So wait, so if there was like a homeless child that dies very young and doesn't really do anything historically significant,
you can save that
as a Time Lord, you could just beat him up in a back alley and face no repercussions.
Yeah, because he nothing that happened to that kid would change anything in history. So it's only for the historical relevant. For example, at one point in the Eccleston era, his companion Rose was like, oh, we can use this machine to save my dad. her dad is like a big deal.
Jared, don't
like
dance around the question. Yes or no? The
What?
timeline, the time travel rules in Doctor Who
Yeah,
make
you can
it
beat
so
up
that
a kid.
they make
and
it
it'll be
so
okay.
that it is imperative that you don't give Hitler explosive diarrhea, but you can
Yeah.
brutally beat a homeless child.
Yeah, because like they have no historical relevance.
And people say that do people think that Doctor Who has like, do they regard it like up there with Back to the Future in terms of like the time travel logic?
No, I don't think so. No one really focuses on that. There's a reason it's mostly aliens these days. The time travel stuff is always fucked, but it's there. And it's part of the whole appeal to it. But they don't really like think about it. Like
That's
most of the
why
time,
I could never get into
travel
Doctor
is-
Who.
It gets worse because there's that one point.
I can't get behind a time, like I can't get behind a set of rules of physics that side disproportionately with fascists.
Well, yeah, no, it's weird.
Time
It
travel
just depends on the fascist,
in Doctor
I
Who
guess.
is just an extension of the bourgeoisie.
I mean, it makes sense on paper. You can't change any historical event. Like
Why?
even in the Rosa Parks episode. Well, because it's important for the development of humans.
So it's really important that Hitler doesn't have explosive diarrhea.
Yes,
Because he's got to make his big speech.
Yeah.
So does Doctor Who have moments where he has to tell someone during the Holocaust, no, see, I can't bust you out of here because like, and I can't free your family because like, oh, like if this doesn't happen, then like I'm gonna be inconvenienced.
Well, it's not inconvenience. What happens is if you ruin a fixed point in time, is that these alien timekeeper thingies appear, and their whole thing is that they destroy the entire universe because it's not correct anymore.
Okay, so Doctor, does he tell that to people every time?
Yeah, he's like, hey, we can't do that, or else the universe will actually die.
Do you think they actually buy that?
Well, I mean, it happened.
Because if it was, well, no. Like, if you were just a person that existed and someone who has the powers of time and space demonstrated those powers to you and took you along on an adventure, and then you said, hey, you know, there's a certain German leader that everyone agrees is awful. Like, you have full permission to take him out. Like, no one will stop you. And then his response is, oh, see, I would, but like there's a race of aliens that care a lot about the Holocaust happening.
When you put it like that,
Would you buy that for a second?
Well, that's the thing. It actually happened. What you were describing is an actual episode that happened. Except now with Hitler, it's someone trying to save their
happening.
dad.
I thought you were talking about the aliens thing.
No, both. Like the entire episode is that one of his companions tries to save their dead dad before he dies, and then it just fucks everything up. It creates an entire timeline that is then destroying and like itself and all this other crap. And Doctor's like, we have to go back in time and kill your dad.
See, that's why I don't respect linear time travel. That's why I prefer the branching timelines school of thought when it comes to time travel.
It's nicer.
Branching timelines just makes more sense.
Doctor Who episodes are always good when it's mostly just alien shit and they don't really do the time travel too much.
I don't know if the rules of your fictional universe's physics make sense as long as you don't consider them. I mean, you gotta question the quality.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though with time travel stuff. It's like if you look at it, you're gonna find so many flaws with it.
I guess
it's like even in Endgame, which had like a really good way to do time travel, they still had weird rules at the end where it's like, oh, so does it work the other way or not, or did he just like decide to go back to the present?
Oh, old Cap.
Yeah, because like
I
It's
will agree
weird.
that they didn't handle that particularly well. Like that shouldn't like at the end of your time travel movie, once you've explained, especially if you have explicitly explained the rules, you should the ending like it shouldn't be left up to debate how the ending worked.
Yeah.
I mean the Russos, I guess they said in an interview recently that he was in a branching timeline and then he just returned, which is what I had assumed.
But here's the thing with that kind of shit, because this always bothers me when Disney, because it's always Disney that does this, is they don't explain in their movies like the controversial, like bizarre take that they do at the end that like changes the rules of the universe. They just go about and be like, we'll just talk about it in the interview.
That reminds me. Okay, this is officially a. Oh, by the way, Adam Driver. I forgot about this completely.
He says the N-word.
Yeah. So
okay.
Listeners, just look up the clip because I won't read out what he says or anything. But he I guess there's a scene where like the protagonist who happens to be black is like driving away from, I guess, like a racist family or whatever. And Adam Driver is like shooting at him and he's like, get out of here. Yeah, and then he
screams the N-word.
Basically calls him like a dirty N-word and like hard R and everything. And like, I don't know, like the acting is just too good.
Adam Driver this was just them trying to pick him up for the set. For rehearsal.
Adam, that was great. All right, let's just get one more for safety. He's like, what?
Get the fuck out of my home.
Adam, Adam, that take was incredible. He's like, take?
What are you taking from me?
What are we filming, a movie or something?
What are we, some kind of movie squad?
What are we, some kind of black Klansman?
The real black Klansman was the friends we made along the way.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, WandaVision. This is officially a WandaVision segment now that we got the Adam Driver thing out of the way.
So cataracts.
You were talking about like, oh, yeah, something about how like Disney doesn't explain stuff very well in their movies.
Yeah. They like with fucking the last Star Wars movie they made, the Return of Skywalker, whatever the fuck they called it. Rise of Skywalker. Like the entire movie has so many parts in it that they just like in an interview is like, yeah, this is what happened. This is why this happens. Like, if you need to do that in order for your movie to make sense and be good, it's not a good movie.
Oh yeah,
like what we're about to do on this podcast is basically what Disney's trying to do. They're just rewriting their movie without like actually filming the rewrites.
Yeah. No, Nando V Movies did a pretty good rewrite of Rise of Skywalker that I just finished watching the other day. It was
send me that.
Pretty good. Yeah, it actually like utilizes the characters well, and it has like a big like stormtrooper uprising within the First Order, and it treats Finn like it seemed like they intended. Where he's like the one stormtrooper that managed to get out, and all of the other stormtroopers are like, they treat him as like a legend because it's like word spreads. And anyway, it's a really good rewrite. I'll link it in the description and I'll send it to you later. But
please do.
Yeah. So when you were talking about how Disney doesn't explain stuff, or like leave stuff ambiguous, that made me think of WandaVision, and it's not like a problem with Disney not explaining stuff because it's a weekly show. Everything is unfolding in real time.
Yeah,
but I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks now about how stuff is the WandaVision is like partially a mystery story.
Yeah,
where you're constantly guessing, like, oh, you're constantly wondering what's going to happen next. And there's so many people that are like, every week they're like, if you look at
Mephisto,
if you look at frame number 1947, there's a child riding a scooter, and the scooter has a red paint job, and that that means that it's Mephisto.
My favorite one is all of the times people saw like parts of the costume that weren't filled in correctly, and they were immediately oh my god, this is big news, it must mean something. And it's like, yeah, it means that they didn't think about painting his forearm when it was wearing a sleeved shirt.
Yeah,
it's almost like that's impossible to do without it looking terrible.
So, Jared, we are recording this at 8:17 p.m. on Wednesday, March 3rd. This Friday, March 5th, is going to be the last episode of WandaVision.
I'm excited.
Let's get this out now. What are your predictions for fake Fietro? What is he going to end up being?
Just a familiar, like a construct, I guess.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be that Fietro, fake Fietro, is just either a guy or just like a golem that Agnes like constructed and is using to sort of get information out of Wanda.
Yeah, hold on, I'll be back in a second. Someone's screaming. The hell are you screaming about? Just Google it. My brother's playing video games.
Damn.
That's what the screaming was.
So, anyway, I was saying that I vehemently disagree with all the people that are insisting that Evan Peters, his version of Fietro, has to be the X-Men, the Fox version of Quicksilver, Peter Maximoff.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
It doesn't make sense in the plot. I mean, I know that they're doing like multiverse stuff, but not that kind of multiverse.
Also, I think the multiverse stuff is going to come into play at the end. I think it's going to be some like big magic fight, and then all of a sudden like, oh no, too much juice, and then it's going to like, the multiverse, and then that's where, Doctor Strange's movie comes in.
Yeah, I don't know. I like, even if they are doing multiverse stuff with like, the Fox universe is all connected and everything, which I sincerely doubt. I think there's some, reason to believe that they're going to do Spider-Verse stuff, like bringing in Sam Raimi, like his, Spider-Man universe, like in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, like there's some reason to believe that because it makes sense. There's precedent for like Spider-Verse stuff, and those are like the Raimi movies are generally regarded as good. The Amazing Spider-Man movies are inoffensive enough, but the Fox universe is just so convoluted and messy and insane that as a writer, I wouldn't want to have to deal with all that baggage. Yeah, when the best movie you've had is both the Deadpool movies, and that's all out of your like 20 movie catalog. Yeah, my prediction is honestly the multiverse stuff that they're gonna do. I think it's just gonna be like Elseworld kind of stuff. Yeah, no, I just genuinely think if they do fucking the multiverse shit, it's just gonna be like, oh, the portal's open, and then to be continued in Doctor Strange movie. Yeah, and it's going to be like different, not just different versions of Earth, but also like the dark dimension and stuff like that. Like we saw in Doctor Strange, like when Doctor Strange was like getting his mind expanded before he like was, properly studying. Yeah. Like that kind of stuff. Like that kind of alternate universe is not like Evan Peters as Quicksilver. Yeah. But yet a lot of like, I know Super Carlin Brothers, they did a video where they mentioned like, oh yeah, if Evan Peters isn't the Fox Quicksilver, it's going to be a massive disappointment. And I've seen people, agreeing with that sentiment. And I mean, he was the only good thing in the X-Men movies besides Hugh Jackman and Magneto. He was pretty good. Yeah, I agree with that. If you're going to bring in anyone, it's going to be either him or Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman is out. Yeah, no, he's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I hear he's open to it, but I mean, they ended the character pretty well with Logan, and there's so far not a good reason to bring him back and bring him in. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, in all honesty, it looks like it's not going to be Fox Pietro, and like it's just gonna be a random guy. Now,
I think it's not just a random guy, because like, you know how Wanda has, like, she made those kids and made Vision and shit.
Yeah.
What if she just did that? What if fucking Agatha just like, oh, I made a person too?
No, I don't think so, because if you remember back to episode 8, Agatha talks about how like she has like a Luke Skywalker, I've never seen this kind of raw power before kind of moment.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And she's like, you have the power of spontaneous creation. So it looks like creating like, you know, proper life is something that only the Scarlet Witch is capable of, because she has like chaos magic or whatever. Now creating like a golem, like an empty vessel of a body.
That's what I'm to
do your like her eyes and ears.
Yeah, I don't think it's an actual like person. I think it's a fucking flesh construct.
Yeah, that's something that she can do as just a normal person that learned magic.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But yeah, no, WandaVision. I can't wait to see White Vision fight other Vision.
Yeah, but I was gonna say though, so it looks like if I'm right, which I could be wrong, it has happened before, I just can't remember when. It looks like Pietro is just gonna be like not X-Men Pietro.
Yeah. Right.
So let's just say that's the case. Now, what if they had just cast a regular, like just a nobody? Because it wouldn't make sense to bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson, because, you know, you'd have to like resurrect his body for it to make sense.
Which she could do. She just didn't want to go to Germany to do it.
It was Sokovia.
Oh,
where he died.
Close enough. It's a word I still can't pronounce, so it's close enough.
But yeah, so like it wouldn't make sense like for his body to be resurrected, and how are you going to get like someone that looks exactly like him? And, you know, especially if you're going off of like third-hand information about what he looks like. So, I mean, if not Evan Peters, it's just going to be some guy. Now, let's just say that they had some guy playing the role of fake Pietro.
Would it be as cool to see it on screen?
Exactly. Everyone would be complaining because it's like, who the hell is this guy? I don't have any connection with him. Oh, they should have cast Evan Peters, because that would be a cool nod to the X-Men movies.
Yeah, that's exactly what they say.
The exact people that are complaining now would be complaining if it was like the opposite case.
It reminds me of Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Or some Spider-Man fans.
A lot of them. Oh my god, I've never seen so many people hate the character they say they love.
Oh yeah.
It's like, don't fuck with us Spider-Man fans. We hate Spider-Man.
Don't fuck with us Evan Peters fans. We hate Evan Peters. No, Evan Peters fans are actually very dedicated.
They're stans. Evan Peter Stan. Peter Stan sounds like a country we probably invaded at some point.
True. Anyone that likes American Horror Story, which is a show that he has been on for a while.
Oh, he was Tate, right?
He was like in every season, I think. But yeah, everyone that likes American Horror Story fucking loves American Horror Story.
Yeah. Well, my sister got into it, and she fucking
Anyone that wears a sweatshirt that says "normal people scare me" should scare you. that is someone going through a mental health crisis.
so mean. Oh, I want more of this.
Let's roast every popular show.
While we're on the topic of things that piss us off, I'm getting so sick and tired of
you know what grinds my gears?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good pun for what I'm about to say. You remember how Paul Bettany, that's the name of the guy that plays Vision, right?
Yeah. Also the guy from A Knight's Tale. Not the main guy, but the other guy. He was so good in that movie. I love Paul Bettany. He's such a darling.
I never drew the connection. Anyways,
Got to see his ass in that movie.
oh my
That's
god,
something.
Alex.
If you want to see Vision's ass, watch A Knight's Tale. Even if you don't watch A Knight's Tale, it's such a good movie.
Yeah, but so you remember how he had that interview where he was talking about
The
how
one where he was
gonna-
talking about how like, oh, I'm gonna get to work with an actor that I've been wanting to work with for a long time.
Yeah, and it like you've seen the episode now, so you obviously know that the actor he was referring to was himself.
Well, that's what it
Like-
seems.
Okay, but that's the thing though. The way he chalked this person up though, it is deadpan sarcasm 101.
Oh yeah,
He's like, this guy is an amazing actor. People are going to love it. I've always wanted to work with him. We have such amazing chemistry. And the guy's himself.
yeah. See, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, I wonder who it is. Is it gonna be, whoever is gonna be like Benedict Cumberbatch or something? Which maybe I don't know. I don't think he's directly worked with him yet. But yeah, once it was pointed out to me that like, oh yeah, he's definitely talking about himself. Like it really makes sense. Like that's a very actor thing to do.
There are people who are like fighting with people online saying that no, he's clearly referring to the next twist character that's going to show up. He's referring
to Mephisto.
Yeah, people still think this character is going to show up. We are one episode away from the end. Like that's the last episode, folks. He's not showing up unless it's like at the very end, the fucking like final, like, oh, this he came out of the multiverse. This is the big bad of the season. There's no way.
Disney never promised Mephisto. They never mentioned him at all.
And everyone
everyone keeps saying like, oh, this is going to be the episode where Mephisto makes his grand entrance. No, it's not.
All the magic shit was already revealed to have been Agatha Harkness. So what evidence is there for Mephisto to show up?
See, I still think that there's a small chance that they name drop Mephisto.
I don't think they're even going to do that.
At the very most, what they will do with it is because there's Agatha's rabbit, Senior Scratchy.
Yeah, I think that's just a fucking like monster thing. I don't think that's gonna be anything beyond that. It's like the cat from Captain Marvel.
But I believe this was mentioned in the Super Carlin Brothers video that they did about White Vision. But it's possible that Agatha is trying to get Wanda to unlock more of her powers so she can like harness that to bring back Ralph, who she keeps talking about. Maybe that's not just like a sitcom trope thing. Like maybe she did actually marry a guy or have some kind of relationship with a guy, and he's either he was either killed or he got transfigured into a rabbit.
That's the
and
thing,
she wants to bring him back. And like the most that they will like, if they do anything with Mephisto, they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to bring back my husband, Mephisto, but he's not going to be like the devil. He's going to be like a guy that was just really into dark magic. If they do that at all.
That's the thing though. Like I see a lot of people still going on with like, like Agatha's like her plans unfolding and stuff like that. And really, with how she was in the last time we saw her, I don't think her plan's unfolding at all. I think she thinks she's way over her head. Because her reaction to finding out all about Wanda...
Well, it's still really unclear like, what her plan is.
Well, yeah, but like, I just want to point out though, her reaction to like, Wanda, you're the Scarlet Witch is more like is less like a, aha, finally, after all this time. Yeah, it's more of a, oh shit, holy fuck.
Yeah,
this
she
is a
definitely
bad thing.
Did not know what she was getting herself into. Because she was expecting like a skilled magic user. She was expecting someone like a Doctor Strange type. Yeah, she was expecting like a Doctor Strange type who got like who spent years studying magic.
Yeah.
When really she got a Harry Potter type who's just immediately good at everything and doesn't need to study.
Yeah. When you put it like that, oh man. I tell you though, I there's this thing, I was watching Mr. Sunday Movies. And
Great channel.
apparently this is a theory that's still existing, and that's that Hayward is Ultron.
Oh,
And
I'm starting to love that theory.
understand.
Not because I think it's true, but just because I love that there's
I
people
love
out there
their
that think that.
dedication.
I just like when I see people like unironically theorizing, which granted, I don't see a lot of people doing this, but when I see people unironically theorizing that Hayward is Ultron, it feels adorable.
Like clearly Ultron's coming back, guys.
It's like watching a toddler solve a mystery. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It sure is something else. Yeah, no, the theories that people are coming up with still is just, some of them are just so fucking stupid. I don't even feel bad for saying that, because it's not creative theories like you get usually with shows. It's all theories like Mephisto is actually this bug. It's like other shows I've watched had theories where it's like, oh, this is gonna happen. There's gonna be this awesome like twist and stuff, and like, oh, they're gonna do this, and it's like,
is
basically
Hayward
what I'm trying
Mephisto?
What I'm trying to
is
say
Hayward
is
Ultron, and is Ultron Mephisto?
What I'm trying to say is, with other shows that I have seen that have taken like the whole like every week they'll release an episode, there's been more speculation beyond, is this generic thing Mephisto? And there's also been more, less people speculating over these different theories. WandaVision has one of the biggest fan bases out of all the shows I've seen, including Mandalorian. And
rightfully so.
Somehow Mandalorian had more theories about what they were going to do with it.
What do you mean?
Like there were more people like speculating on like what's going to happen in Mandalorian, like especially at the last episode for the second season. For the second season, I don't know why.
I guess I'd say there's more unique theories about Mandalorian. But
that's the thing about Wanda. It's like
there's a lot of people talking about WandaVision and theorizing. Almost none of them are correct.
The same. Like that's the thing, though. All the theories are the same.
That's why I say Mandalorian has more unique theories.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It just feels weird though, because it's like you'd think that there'd be like more unique shit with the show about magic and not timelines, and alternate universe shit and stuff like that, than just, oh yeah, Satan. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know, it's disheartening in a way.
Yeah, it's like with the whole fake Pietro thing, where everyone's, or at least a lot of people are like, oh, it has to be Fox X-Men Pietro or Peter. It just has to be. And like when you really press them on it, it's like the strongest evidence that they give is like, come on, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. It's like with other theories and like the Mandalorian stuff, like even the most stupid ones still had at least some evidence to back it up.
Is Boba Fett Mephisto?
Oh my god. No, but that's the thing. There were people like when season 2 was announced and they said they had Tamara Morrison on it, there were people like making theories over if Boba Fett was gonna be in this show, if it was gonna be like Captain Rex or another clone trooper or something, and they all had like fairly
Captain
decent
Rex
evidence
cool.
to support it. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
Did you see that they retconned Captain Rex into Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, he's the old guy on Endor. You see him for like 2 seconds.
The one guy that vaguely looks like he could be Captain Rex.
Yeah.
If you squint and look at him from far away enough.
I love that though, because they literally just put Captain Rex, a main character of Star Wars, in one of the biggest conflicts as just a foot soldier. It's like, I don't know, it's just so funny to me. Because like,
yeah, some people just don't have to be main characters.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me, though,
Like
because
the mouse droid that scuttles across the floor on the Death Star doesn't have to be the protagonist of something.
Oh, you mean Unit J3241, the mouse droid that stole the Death Star plans?
I'm like 90% sure that you're kidding, but there's 10% of me that knows that you're probably like, even if you're not doing it on purpose, you're definitely referencing some expanded universe material.
There's a story on everything. Like,
the robot that blew a gasket in the first 15 minutes of A New Hope. Yeah,
he's a
force-sensitive robot.
Yeah, that's canon too.
And that's our obligatory Star Wars moment.
No, it gets even worse. You know the guy that you see for like 2 seconds in Cloud City that's holding an ice cream machine when the alarms are going off?
What?
An ice cream making machine. It's an old like 80s thing. You wouldn't get it.
Yeah, well, I know. I imagine it's a machine that makes ice cream. I think they have them now.
Yeah.
I mean, what is an ice cream maker doing on Cloud City?
Well, glad you asked. There's a 2-book novel series about this guy and how he stole the power cord at Cloud City.
Of course. of course.
I love it. It's so stupid. That man did the greatest thing ever. He did it so the Empire couldn't like fuck them up. And it was like this important device. It wasn't like the power cord of Cloud City, but it was like this extremely important device, and he just left with it. And it's like he's a war hero now, and it's just the guy with the ice cream. Way to go, machine.
Guy that held a prop on set.
It's so good.
Imagine if Gene's guy existed before they could just CGI him out.
Oh, did they CGI him out?
I think so.
Bastards! No, they should have made it more prominent.
That's what they would have done if it was an original trilogy thing. But
they should have done.
You can have a Jerry's moment about it. I gotta go fuel my drinking problem. Drinking water, that is. I gotta hydrate.
All right, you enjoy.
Problem.
Go. All right. No, but imagine that though, viewers. Imagine that, viewers. It's like instead of them just CGIing out the guy, they just make him bigger. So he's like filling up the whole thing. Like it cuts back to them shooting, and you just see this giant hand. Anyways, while we're here, that's empty. While we're here, I just want to tell you all about the time I ate a glue stick. I didn't. This was a lie. You've been lulled into a false sense of whatever. Fuck you. Point is, you ever think about toilet paper math? Like, you go to the fucking store. There's like 100 different like toilet paper brands all over the walls, and they got shit like 1 equals 64 or 10 equals 132. And it's like, imagine that, but it's money instead. The world would not work at all. You'd go to buy something, and it's like, that'll be $2, and then you hand them like 2 sacks of pennies. And that would somehow, make sense. Cause you know what Ultra Soft Charmin says? 1 equals 1,022. Toilet paper pisses me off, viewers, because I don't understand the math. I don't think we were supposed to understand the math. What?
I'm back.
Hello.
I was just saying I'm scared to find out what you have been talking about.
Oh, it wasn't anything too cursed. It was a rant about something.
Well, I guess I'll find out later.
You will.
All right, you want to move into the main topic of the show?
The main course, yes. So viewers, I stated a thing a couple weeks ago that what we should do is do what we did with Ben 10, but for Spider-Man 3, and we're going to make a Spider-Man movie that
Utter
isn't
chaos.
garbage.
It's gonna be utter chaos.
No, that's the thing. I want to fix it because I have a vision.
Oh,
on
I
how
took
it
a
can
lot
be
of notes.
Better. I took no notes. As you have seen yourself, I need not notes as I can retell the entirety of Spider-Man 3 from memory.
More or less, yeah. But so do you want to start off our little retrospective / rewrite with a quick summary of the movie?
Yeah, so basically what happens in the movie is like the first shot of the movie is like Mary Jane and Peter on a web in a park, and they see a meteorite shoot down. That meteorite is Venom. This is how Venom's introduced into Spider-Man 3. And I just like to say,
I believe that's after the scene at the Playhouse where MJ is performing.
Yeah, so this is
on Broadway. And I just want to say, I'm going to delve more into the criticisms of the movie later on in the next, part.
Yes.
But she's not bad.
No, Alex.
She's
terrible.
She's pretty good.
No, she has to be terrible.
Okay, but like, I don't know what Kirsten Dunst's voice sounds like. I don't know what her singing voice sounds like. But it sounds like they dubbed her over for the movie. That's what it sounds like to me. It could be her singing voice. Some people sound very different when they sing. But it seems like they dubbed her over. They dubbed over her voice to make her sound better. Now, why would they do that if they want to later in the movie portray the idea that she's just a washed up failed actress that gets replaced nearly immediately?
Because they don't want Kirsten Dunst to like feel bad.
Maybe. I don't know. Then why don't they?
It's probably an image thing. It's like why Tom Cruise has to wear stilts all the time.
Maybe, but why didn't they dub her over to sound like worse?
Oh, well, that's a good point. But again, it's her face making the sounds. So it's like, I don't want to be associated with that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Just make me sound good, but we'll say I sound bad.
If that's the case, then just have her acting be bad. I don't know. Like, do something to justify why they would want to let her go.
Yeah.
Because as it is, it's like they show her singing beautifully. And then
everyone's booing.
Like, it's, I don't know. Just anyway, get on with the summary before I blow a gasket.
So yeah, Peter gets on his little moped and he moves out, and then Venom like slumps onto that. And no, my mind's a little fuzzy on this part again. It always happens.
Be honest. Did you watch the movie?
I watched a bit of it.
You watched
I
a
didn't
bit
watch
of
the
it.
beginning. I just watched the parts that mattered.
You gotta watch the whole thing to get the whole horrible experience, so we can fix it. It's okay. I watched the whole thing.
My memory though still.
I can speak to the pacing. Correct. It's very bad.
I can't remember. Does it go like he gets on the moped, then he goes to Aunt May's house and she gives him the ring, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the movie opens, I believe. I'm not very good at retelling the plot of movies, to be clear, but the way that I remember it, we open at the theater. And,
isn't Harry like scowling the whole time?
Yeah, Harry's like obsessed with Peter because he knows that he's Spider-Man. Spoiler alert.
So Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for the previous movie, but yeah, as Peter's walking out, Harry meets up with them and he's like, "You killed my dad."
I'm gonna kill you, Peter.
and Peter's like, "Come on." At this point, he has not said on screen, "Harry Osborn, I did not kill your father." He waits until much later in the movie.
After he throws a grenade at him, he doesn't even tell him anything. I don't think.
He mentions, "I didn't kill him." This is actually pretty soon after, but yeah. So then after the whole Harry Osborn just, he limos off, and then Peter and MJ meet up in the park, and they're on the big inconspicuous web. that they could totally explain if someone found them there. Like, oh, yeah, I just found this web here. Crazy how Spider-Man just left this hammock-sized web for us. I don't know.
His excuse half the time, just Spider-Man's my friend. This is what we do. He's not here right now.
I can't reveal my identity as Spider-Man or else my loved ones will get hurt. So I should just say that I and all of my loved ones just closely associate with him.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, god damn it.
But anyway, so they're in the park. As they're leaving, the Venom asteroid shoots out of space, which I will address later. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
Lashes itself onto Peter's scooter, and then I believe after that we get the scene with
Aunt May where she gives Peter her old wedding ring, her engagement ring.
Yeah,
she's like, and Uncle Ben gave this to me. You give it to that red-haired girl you like.
Now, people complain about that scene. I actually don't mind it. I think it's very nice. I love seeing Peter and Aunt May interact. I think it's one of the strongest parts of the movies.
Wait, people didn't like it? What the fuck were people complaining about? Out of all the things in the movie, that's one of the things they criticized.
Some people think it's like long and drawn out. I disagree.
What? The whole movie is long and drawn out.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you fucking kidding me?
But anyway... So the first time the movie starts, it's at the Playhouse. Second time the movie starts, it's when we get Venom, and then the third time it starts, this movie starts many times, but anyway, after Peter leaves, Aunt May's apartment, new Goblin shows up. Surprise! It's Harry Osborn.
I just like to say,
and then they have the fight, and in the middle of the fight, after being smashed into a wall and probably realizing, damn, I let this go on longer than I should, Peter says, finally, I didn't kill your father. He was trying to kill me, and then he killed himself. A little too late, bud. But anyway,
as
they have
Harry
that fight.
Rips out a wall.
Yeah. I feel like once you're to the point where you're being thrown into a brick wall and you leave a dent, I feel like you gotta think to yourself, maybe I should have said something earlier.
No, I love that scene though. Because the new Goblin outfit, I understand what they're going for, but oh my god, that is kind of the worst outfit.
And I will address it. I'll address the whole new Goblin situation once we get into the criticisms.
Yeah, but my favorite part though is how they end that scene is Spider-Man tricks Harry into going down a very narrow alleyway and then clotheslines him, and he gets amnesia because he hits his head on literally every fucking piece of New York City they could think of.
You know, if I'm being honest, I really questioned whether he really had amnesia.
No, I think he did. Because, like, how else are they going to get rid of him for most of the movie? There's like, oh, he's biding his time. The guy that is a super soldier with explosive devices and shit.
See, I don't know.
But
Harry
also
Osborn is a very
whole
complicated, like, individual in these movies, I feel like. Because, like, him and Norman have, like, obvious symptoms of, like, borderline personality disorder. And no one's willing to talk about it.
Instead, they'll just stab him out of the way.
And it's just always chalked up to like, oh, they're crazy because of the goblin juice.
The goblin juice, the green.
No, maybe there's
shit.
a family history of mental illness that just hasn't been addressed.
Or it's the goblin juice. It's probably the juice, not the other thing. Nah, this is what you get for putting that green shit inside you. Remember, kids. Don't eat those damn vegetables. They'll make
eat
you
your
crazy.
Green vegetables.
Eat
not
the
green ones.
Eat the orange ones instead. Only carrots.
But anyway, after the whole fight with New Goblin, I believe that's when we get Sandman introduced, or Flint Marko.
Yeah, so Flint Marko is introduced, and basically it's him escaping, visiting his dying daughter, his wife being like, get the fuck out, you're a murderer. And he's like, oh, okay. Leaves, and then he encounters what has to be the most cruel and malicious scientists ever. They have designed a device that changes the molecular structure of things into sand. And they think, there's a bird in there. Oh, well, just vaporize it. Why should we care? It's just like, what the fuck, man? That's a bad thing, because I'm not a scientist. I'm not like Green Goblin. I'm not something of a scientist myself. I'm just a guy that fucking plays video games. But
honestly, I really want someone to answer the question, what were they trying to do? What was the experiment that they were trying to do?
I believe it was like molecular structures and turning it into like fucking sand, because that's what happens to him. It's just a weird thing they're working on.
Don't we have enough sand?
Yeah, we do, but at the same time, it's probably some stupid military thing. Remember, we spent $1.3 trillion on a stealth jet that doesn't work.
You know what? Good point.
But anyway, so they just think, oh, it's probably a bird. Let's just fucking vaporize it. Which, if I was a scientist, that's contaminating a sterile environment, or what is supposed to be sterile. I don't know. Sand's probably made of dead kids that they vaporize too. Because, these guys, it's just a small bird. Let's just destroy it. Clearly the size of a man also.
You know what else I want answered?
Yeah?
How many birds did these sadistic fucks kill up to this point? Because they're obviously used to it.
And like they keep running tests, so it seems like their experiments aren't going as planned. I wonder if the pile of pigeon carcasses have something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe.
So anyways, they turn this motherfucker into Sandman, which has some like pretty decent early CGI work.
Oh yeah, they poured the whole budget into that scene.
Yeah. You can tell because later on when he turns into Big Sandman, it's not as cool looking.
Yeah, but, every other time that we see Sandman, it's like the difference between a cutscene and gameplay footage.
Yeah, it's so weird. But yeah, so Sandman, he's like he comes back. He's made of sand. He's like, my daughter. Also, that's another thing that's weird. His clothes got turned into that shit, but not the
locket.
Yeah,
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I don't understand that.
We'll raise suspension of disbelief for it though, and just say that I guess that's just not organic matter.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to think about it because I don't want to hate this movie more than I do.
Yeah. I mean, that's just something, though. It's just a suspension of disbelief thing. Like, yeah, it's stupid and doesn't make sense when you think about it, but out of everything else in that movie, I'd rather have that be the only problem instead of everything else.
Yeah. So after the Sandman scene, we get Harry in the hospital.
Also, though, Sandman basically decides, though, that he's going to use his newfound powers to get his daughter the money for her cancer treatments.
Right.
So then Harry's in the hospital with a concussion because, he literally got hit by every piece of New York City they could think of.
Do you think, though, and I just thought of this.
Man should be dead.
I just thought of this. So Flint Marko, if he had been caught by the police and he was thrown back in jail after he had been experimented on and turned into sand, do you think he could sue those scientists or whatever board they're working through, or their oversight committee or whatever? Because that's obvious malpractice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gotta be security footage of them saying, "Oh, it's probably just a bird," without checking.
That's probably just a bird. Fuck it. Hit the button, vaporize a 300-pound man.
I mean, when you think about it, birds aren't even real. So, I mean, why do we care so much?
No, my favorite thing, though, is 1.5-pound bird equates to 300-pound man. They knew what they were doing. Those scientists just wanted to turn someone into sand. They were itching for their chance.
See, we ran out of captive birds that we could turn into sand, and we were just so excited by the possibility that we could get a wild one that we never even stopped to think that it could be a guy.
So as soon as slightest bit of disturbance happened, we hit the fry button.
Because there is precedence to be able to sue those scientists, if the same logic applies anyway. But historically, there was one case that I just thought of. that I remembered. Legal Eagle did a video on it. It was pretty good. I might link it if I remember, but basically this guy had a house that he had inherited with his wife, and they weren't living in it. They had to fix it up, and they weren't, sleeping there at night. And they had put up signs, no trespassing, all that stuff.
Oh, is this squatter shit?
It's not squatter shit. It's people, like kids would go in and like mess with stuff and break shit. And there were a couple guys. I think it was like one or two guys. Anyway, it was at least one guy. He had gone in and stolen a bunch of stuff. He didn't take everything, but he took, a lot of like, heirlooms and stuff. And the guy, he tried going to the police, but they were like, "Did you try not getting your house robbed?"
What?
The police were no help. So the guy was like, "Fuck it, I guess I'll take it into my own hands if no one's gonna, take this seriously." So he set up a trap in one of the rooms where he had a shotgun. Set up.
The jury-rigged shotgun, my favorite.
Yep. So when the guy opens the door, it like pulls a string.
Out.
Yep. It shot him, I believe, in the legs. So it wasn't lethal. It wasn't set up to be lethal. It was just set up to maim the guy. But yeah, he got arrested and everything, and he had countersued for like attempted murder or something, or like assault, but basically, countersuing for this guy setting up a shotgun to shoot him.
Yeah, as he's committing a crime.
Right.
And that's legal. That's an actual thing you can do too.
Oh yeah, he won. The criminal won.
There's a reason in like gun safety classes, they say if you're using a gun for home defense, shoot to kill. It's cleaner on a legal standpoint, and also you don't have to deal with the other guy having his own side of the story.
Yeah, that's why I say Sandman could sue.
He absolutely could, and he'd probably win because he has evidence to prove it. Name a motherfucker whose hands turn to sand at will.
Yeah,
probably all the fucking birds of New York from the sounds of it.
Yeah,
that's why he got so big. He absorbed the birds. He's like, this is how we're going to take on Spider-Man. These pigeons, they're sand. But so where are we at? Oh yeah, so Harry's in the hospital. He's hurt. He's like,
he has amnesia.
He's all friendly with them. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Pete?
Yeah, Peter and MJ are visiting him.
Talk to my dad."
Yeah, he's like, "I don't remember anything. I guess my dad died or something." And Peter, you can see on his face, he like breathes like a sigh of relief.
It's like, oh,
I thought I was gonna have to be like honest with him for a second. Now I can just avoid everything.
I will admit, Peter in the Sam Raimi films is kind of the worst human being. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's the first criticism that I wrote down. Peter in these movies is awful.
He's kind of like, sometimes it's like endearing, but a lot of times it's just like fucking weird incel.
There's just so many weird moments that he has that I want to just get into later and just dive in.
Just dive headfirst into Peter Parker. But so then Doc Ock shows up. Oh wait, wrong movie. So I forget. Is this next scene that takes place after they're with Harry?
I'm scrubbing through the timeline right now. So after Harry wakes up in the hospital, that's when you get Sandman like reassembling. That's when you get like the beautiful CGI.
Yeah.
So next scene. Oh God, it's the scene with MJ when they're at the apartment.
Oh, that's what it was.
This isn't about you. It's about me.
This motherfucker's like, I gotta go save the day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so like there's a building full of people that are going to die if I don't step in. But
that's right, the crane.
I guess good luck with moping about your bad review.
Yeah. MJ is also kind of the worst. You know what?
That's another thing that I want to get into.
Each other just because of how terrible they are as human beings.
You know what?
Just like,
you know what? They deserve each other.
Yes. No, so yeah, there's the crane scene I forgot about. The crane scene, is that the one with the Stan Lee cameo? Am I thinking of the other construction site problem that Stan Lee shows up in?
I think Stan Lee might pull someone out of the way. I know Stan Lee had a cameo earlier in the movie. I don't know if he got a second one, but
I thought he did.
His cameo in this, if he only had one cameo, then it was at the beginning when he's like, I guess one person really can make a difference. When Peter's like, hey there, it's me, Peter Parker. I guess you could say things are going pretty all right.
Yeah. Hey there, kids, it's me, Peter Parker.
Your friendly neighborhood,
murderer. So anyways,
okay, Harry Osborn. Yeah, so we get the crane scene where Peter's, saving lives, and that makes him selfish. That's when we get the introduction of possibly the worst character in this entire movie, Edward Brock Jr.
Oh,
hi there, police captain, Mr. Stacy. Oh, I'm Eddie Brock. Oh, your daughter's up there hanging off of a building. By the way, I'm fucking her every night.
Yeah, he's taking pictures the whole time too.
Well, to be fair, he is a photographer and he won't shut up about it.
Yeah, he's like that one kid in film class that has to constantly remind you that he's in film class.
He's like
he'll go online and he'll be like, I learned this from my film class of which I am in.
Which, of course, do independent study, learn, be a lifelong learner.
Just don't be a jackass about it.
Yeah, don't be the guy that takes a film class going in with like basic knowledge on how to operate a camera, thinking that you already know everything.
Yeah, don't be an Eddie Brock Jr.
If you can't tell, we were both in a film class together.
Alex, I'll beat you up for that. Anyways, so Peter saves the day, and he meets what's going to be
dick.
Yeah, like the dick he is, he saves countless lives. And then we are introduced to the another main villain for this movie. That's right, we have 3, and that's the first problem.
You know what? If we're being honest, I count Venom and Eddie Brock as 2 separate villains, because Eddie Brock on his own is an asshole.
Yeah. Okay, so fine. We'll say 4 villains.
And I count Venom as Black Suit Peter and Venom himself. Because Peter is really one of his own worst villains in this movie.
Yeah, he is. He always is. It's just this time around, it's
we get Eddie Brock in this scene, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Spidey, I'm the guy that's taking your photos now. That loser Peter Parker, the guy that you definitely aren't. Yeah, he's a fucking idiot and a dumbass. He doesn't know how to take photos. He doesn't know about lighting. By the way, you look like a fat ass." That's word for word verbatim what he says in that scene, believe it or not.
You know that comic where Doc Ock takes over Spider-Man's body and he accidentally kills Scorpion because he punches him hard his head explodes.
Didn't mean to.
What if he did that? Just blows his head off.
He doesn't even have to do that. What if Spider-Man just flicked him like harder than average?
Okay,
what if Peter just left a welt on his cheekbone?
What if just, I don't know, he's like, hey, Peter Parker, he just grabs him by the cuff of his shirt, just starts wailing on him. Eddie Brock's just knocked out, still getting beaten to death by Spider-Man.
Yeah, so that's our number 1 criticism. Peter should just beat Eddie to death.
He should have just shot it. Just grabs the... What if Captain Stacy just shot him?
I wish.
Hey, Peter Parker.
I wish he would.
Bam! Just dead.
It's like in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, with the guy with the sword, and he just shoots him and walks away. The guy with the sword.
It's just, I'm Edward Brock Jr. I'm dating your daughter. And then Captain Stacy just
does it real cool, like he's a fucking
doesn't
like
even
cowboy.
look over. Doesn't even look at him. Just he's still looking up. He just pulls it out of his like jacket pocket and just
shoots.
Just
puts it
just
back.
reaches over. Just bam, and just puts it away. Doesn't even look away. He's like, I hope Gwen's okay.
I hope Gwen's okay.
I hope she like gets better taste in men.
I hope Gwen's okay, both physically in this current situation and mentally with her romantic interests. After that,
I'm doing her a service right now.
You know what? This is hell of a service. I'm not going to it. The joke is the funeral service.
God.
But anyways, so after the crane scene, that's when we get Sandman robbing the armored convoy, right?
Not quite. That's when we get the I guess the proper introduction for J. Jonah Jameson in this movie, like the first time we see him, and just what is
more Eddie Brock.
Well, it opens. Eddie Brock does show up, unfortunately, but
it's the rivalry between Peter and Eddie.
It's when the guy that's played by Sam Raimi's brother, he's like slapping like words up on the board. Daily Bugle. It's hip. It's now. It's wow and how. You know that scene.
And then J. Jonah grabs the man by the cuff of his shirt and throws him out the window.
That's exactly what happens. You don't have to watch the movie because believe us, that's what happened. And we
Jonah
get the best. We get
probably
the best 2.5 minutes in this movie, or however long it takes. When Betty Brant is like, buzzing over the intercom, "Sir, you got to take your medication," and he's like, and he like picks up a bottle and she buzzes it and it like shakes his desk. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this one. Nope, the other one. And then he's like, "This one?" She's like, "Yep." And he picks it up, opens it, and just goes all over. I know, like, objectively, it's not that funny, but I don't know. I just lose it every time I see that scene.
It's good. Any scene with J.K. Simmons as J.K.
Simmons
is fucking amazing.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bullet points under what to change for my notes for the movie.
More scenes.
And then one of the 3 bullet points that I have under what to keep is J.K. Simmons is perfect. I love him more, please.
More pictures of Spider-Man, damn it. No, Jonah Jameson in those movies, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of how he should be portrayed in any kind of like medium they have him thrown into. Because he's just, JK brings such a fucking like good energy for that. I
can't even think of anyone that would be able to replace him.
Like when you read the comic books, like even the old ones before they did the Sam Raimi movies,
it's always J.K. Simmons. It's always him.
The voice you hear when you read it, it's just J.K. Simmons, because no one else can do that. Like you replace him, it's sacrilege, and I will kill you for it.
It's a very specific thing. That's why they never had him in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. They just had like emails from him.
Yeah, emails from JK sounds like a weird like side spin-off.
The JK files.
No, emails from JJ. There we go.
I love it. Did he voice J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man game? Hold on.
I hope he did, but I have a feeling he didn't, and I'm going to have to go kill Insomniac for it. They've committed a sin.
It's Darren D. Paul.
Bastards. We have to stop them.
But, honestly, it's not a bad voice. He doesn't do a bad job. He sounds like J.K. Simmons, which, still, even the next best guy after J.K. Simmons,
he has to sound like J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, the way to say that he sounds good is to say that he sounds like J.K. Simmons. So, like, that's how good he is.
Yeah, it's one of the best versions of any of the characters, in my opinion. Is JJ. A lot of J's in that man's name. Yeah. Gotta tell you.
But anyway, so Eddie Brock goes into meet Jameson.
Eddie Brock, the cunt, shows up.
Yeah, rat bastard. He goes in And he is like, look, I got these pictures and look at how good they are. And and Peter walks into, and JJJ is like, oh, there's a staff job. So I guess you can have it if you want it. And Peter's like, hey, dick, I've been here for years. And Robbie is like the only person that sticks up for him, is like, he's right, Jonah. And
he's right, Jonah.
So it comes down to this.
Robbie is a trooper.
Robbie is the best guy. He's, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. He's the best character in all of these movies.
Robbie should have been Spider-Man.
I just want a series that's just like the nicest characters from this series, like Aunt May, Robbie, end of list, just hanging out. I just want them to have coffee and just catch up.
I like how Robbie is like what's his name? Was it Stanley? The guy from The Office that just hates his job. And it's just like,
I mean, I guess it's a similar vibe, but no, Robbie
like
has
Stanley
like a,
if he was happy.
Actually, that's a pretty good comparison.
Because he's still deadpan and has enough snark to him, but he's doing it to be a good person.
He's the guy that like doesn't give much of a fuck and just, you know, wants stuff to be
vibing. Right. Robbie's just vibing. He enjoys his job.
Straight vibe, and he's just enjoying pretzel day.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, Peter and Edward Brock Jr. both want the staff job that is opened up at the Daily Bugle because a guy got fired, and you know they're both doing freelance, and you know a good steady job is good, and you know we mentioned earlier Peter wants to marry Mary Jane, and so you know naturally a staff job would be good for him. Eddie Brock Jr., this fucking asshole, is like, you see, Jonah, I got a girl that I intend to marry. And, you know, I just want to make an honest living for her, you know? And so he just cuts in with that. It's like, fucking bastard. Now if Peter says, hey, I got a girl too, he's just going to look like he's copying you.
Yeah.
So J. Jonah Jameson says, he says, you know what I want? You know what I fucking want? I want to see a picture of Spider-Man with his hand in the cookie jar. I want to see him doing some dastardly shit. So whoever can get me a photo of that gets the staff job. And so Eddie's like, you got it, man. And Peter's like, you're never going to get that shot because, you know, he's not going to do anything bad. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to fundamentally change about his personality or anything.
Peter's just gonna go rob a bank, take a picture real quick, and then leave.
But yeah, so he's like, you're not gonna get that shot. And he's like, I'm gonna. And after that, we get Harry and Peter catching up, you know, post amnesia. They're just kind of going down memory lane, throwing a basketball around in the you know, very nice, expensive, fragile, expensively furnished mansion.
Yeah,
around all the vases and shit, just throwing a basketball
that also has a mirror that leads to an entire double life.
Yeah, you know, that old chestnut.
I wonder if Peter thought about that. He's like, let's throw this ball around, Harry. That's a good idea. Breaks the goblin window. Oh no.
Oops, let's just web that back together. I mean, shit. Fuck. Do you have any super glue? Do you have any Gorilla Glue?
Harry's just freaking the fuck out. What's going on? Why is there a gorilla in my apartment?
But yeah, so Peter tosses the ball, and of course it hits a vase. And Harry, you know, catches it because he took the goblin juice earlier because you know, he was gonna, you know, kill Peter, and now Peter's like, hey, let's be buds again.
Let's be friends, Harry.
So he catches it, and it's like all, you know, like superhuman reflexes and stuff, and he's like, still got the moves, because this is a thing that you used to do if you don't remember, because, you know, you got the moves. You're good at basketball. You're not on
basketball hair.
steroids.
You're not on weird green steroid juice. Don't worry. Don't look into what happened to your dad. I've said too much. Goodbye.
Hey, don't think about it.
Harry's just sitting there like, man, I wonder what happened to my dad. I like to imagine the entire time, like, they just removed the part where, like, he remembers his dad dying. He just thinks he's out of town for the day. It's like, man, I wonder when dad's coming home.
He just, he had to pick up some milk.
He had to pick up some. The butler
He had to go get
in.
cigarettes.
The blade that pierced your father's heart. What? Dad's dead?
I love that bit. I want to clown on that some more when we actually get to that part in the story.
Came from my glider.
So anyway, after that scene, we get MJ showing up at the theater and finding out that she got fired, and they're like, "Oh, my people were supposed to contact your people. Oh, this is so embarrassing for us."
And then we get the Spider-Man parade.
Yep, the Spider-Man parade.
Single-handedly, the best part of this, Spider-Man gets the recognition he deserves for, being a selfish asshole.
There are actions in this scene that I cannot condone.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he does that.
Yeah, this is one of my criticisms, but
Spider-Man makes out with Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
He makes out with his rival's girlfriend in front of his own girlfriend, thus digging his own grave with 2 fucking shovels.
What a power move, though.
Yeah, I tell you.
But no, I want to delve into this later, but I will mention it now. I don't like that Peter in this movie is an asshole before he gets the black suit.
Yeah. It kind of implies that the whole responsibility shit, it's starting to get to his head again. He's like, I'm Spider-Man. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Eats a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He does also murder someone in this movie.
Oh, he tries to.
Yeah.
He thinks he did, and he's very proud of himself.
Aunt May, you never guess what happened. I killed him. Oh, yeah, we forgot about it. There's the scene where the cops finally tell them that the guy Spider-Man murdered in the first movie wasn't the guy that killed Uncle Ben.
Yeah, when does that happen?
I think right after the Flint Marko Sandman scene.
No, that hasn't happened yet in the plot. That's a couple scenes from now. So,
no,
but anyway,
I swear.
No, I'm looking at it right now. So after the Spider-Man parade, we get the part with the armored truck robbery.
Sandman's finally introduced using his powers to, rob people. And also, just want to say right off the back, I give them good credit on finding an outfit that looks like Sandman's outfit.
Well, it's a pretty simple outfit.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. A simple outfit in a comic book usually translate to something stupid in the movies. So I give them credit for not doing that.
Good point.
You remember what happened to Deadpool originally?
Oh, God. That's just...
They took a ninja mask and made it skin.
I have no words for that. I just hate everything that they did in that with that character. It's so bad.
So anyways, yeah, I do give them credits for actually having an outfit that isn't stupid on their characters.
Yeah.
It looks like Sandman. Even his hairstyle. It's not the right, weird wavy shit, but the guy looks like fucking Sandman.
Exactly.
Kudos. So Sandman, starts punching Spider-Man with his weird CGI hands.
Yeah, and it's he just ends up escaping, and Spider-Man swings away, and he's like, "Where do these guys come from?"
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck? Why is New York assaulted constantly by meta-human freaks like myself?" And that's what he says.
That's verbatim what he says.
Yeah.
So then after that, we get the scene in the fancy French restaurant with the other best character in this entire series, Bruce Campbell, in his many roles.
Yeah, which I remember there's a theory that Bruce Campbell, because in the fourth movie, the unreleased fourth Sam Raimi movie,
Yeah, they were gonna
he
have him
shows
be
up,
Mysterio.
and I love the theory that people made that Bruce Campbell the entire time was Quentin Beck, just pretending to be other people.
Look, that is my religion.
It's so good. Like it doesn't like, it makes sense, but it's also like, why would he do this? But then you remember, oh, it's Mysterio. He's an idiot.
He's not smart. He's just good at stuff.
He's good at he spec'd into one thing when the Fallout scale tree showed up.
Yeah, he spec'd
so
into
he's
like
low on everything
illusion.
else. He lowered
deception.
Yeah, he spec'd all into charisma, except the downside is he has 0 in intelligence.
Yep, and strength. That's why he has to rely on like CGI snakes and stuff.
Yeah, or in the game, actual fucking black magic.
Of course.
He made fucking pictures, real contorted human monsters, and yeah, that was just special effects. No worries, G. Don't think about it, Spider-Man. Just beat your misshapen clone to death. So anyway, Spider-Man 3, they go to the thing and he's like, "Oh, put the ring in the champagne. It'll be like a fun little thing."
Pecker.
What?
He's like, "My name's Peter Parker," and he's like, "Peter Pecker."
Pecker. Yeah, Peter Pecker. Because French people. Pecker.
It is a French restaurant. Oui, oui. We are a smelly.
Obviously being, not a French man.
I am French.
I am French. Can't you tell by my accent?
I feel like he's trying to convince himself.
Again,
it is a French restaurant.
For the Quentin Beck theory. He doesn't even work there. He's just like, I will be the ultimate actor. I will portray the greatest role of them all, life itself.
He's also the girl that replaced MJ.
Yes.
That's just another disguise.
Just rips off her face. It's him. I would have gotten away with it too. So yeah. Another thing is though, I just think it's funny because the thing that they're doing is they put the ring in there, so when she drinks it, she's like, "Oh, what's this in my mouth?"
Yeah, she chokes on her engagement ring.
Yeah. No, you hear stories of them swallowing their engagement ring and it being like this huge production and shit. And it's like, why would you think this is a good idea?
Yeah.
It's like, if you get the same news
I've never
as
understood
us.
that. Sometimes people put it like in a roll. They put it in the bread.
They put it in something you eat. And it's like,
now, I'm the kind of person that just takes a big old chomp out of a dinner roll. I'm not,
like a
I'm
snake.
Not tearing
you don't
apart.
even chew it up. You just swallow the whole bread.
I'm not checking it for fine jewelry.
That's the thing you gotta do at a French restaurant. You have to look over all your food to make sure they didn't leave any doubloons in there.
Yeah, I'm not like a parent in the 80s inspecting Halloween candy.
But so yeah,
honestly,
this scene,
if I was a woman going on a date with my boyfriend and we were going to a French restaurant,
I'd be terrified.
Any kind of fancy restaurant.
Might die that night.
If you are going on a date to a fancy restaurant and you're having even like a remotely pleasant week with your partner, you gotta check all of your food just to make sure that dumbass didn't put a piece of jewelry, like an actual diamond, in like your mashed potatoes or something.
What if you do that and you find a razor blade?
Sorry, I just didn't know how to. I didn't know how to split it off.
Break up with you. I split it off. Get it? Wordplay.
I gotta.
Well, time for the plan B. But so anyway, during the scene, even if I think was MJ blows him off on it, right?
So what happened was she shows up and she's like, "Hey, I'm upset because of the actions that you did earlier in the movie." And he's like, what do you mean? I got an image,
That was
babe.
Spider-Man.
And then possibly the worst thing that could happen happens. Gwen Stacy shows up and she's like, oh my gosh, Peter, my close friend. Oh, it's MJ. He's told me so much about you. And then MJ's like, you didn't fucking mention her. And he's like, oh, she's my lab partner. You know, the woman, the seemingly strange woman that I made out with earlier. Yeah, that's a person that I'm very close with that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Everything in this movie makes him look bad.
Especially the outfit he decides to wear.
Puts on the symbiote. This is before he even makes contact with the symbiote. This is who he is. This is who
he's just
Peter
a bumbling
Parker is.
idiot.
This is what kind of person he is.
He is a bumbling idiot in the worst terms.
He just
like sometimes he means well, but a lot of time he's just a jackass.
I guess it's realistic because it's like, I mean, he's never had more than like a friend.
He probably thinks kissing people is a social norm. That's probably why no one liked him.
Well, I was gonna say he goes probably up to everyone, thinks that's how you get pregnant, but no, that makes everything worse. He sees Gwen. So when's the baby due? And she's like, "What? Well, I saw you were kissing Spider-Man earlier, and you know, he told me before." Because I'm not him, but he told me before that he doesn't want to be a deadbeat dad. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking
and he's like,
about?
You guys kissed. And she's like, so? And he's like, that's not how babies are made.
That's not how it works. I like to imagine this is happening in the lab. Like Dr. Connors is standing there like,
this
what
is
the
at dinner.
fuck, Peter?
This is at the restaurant. So Mary Jane and Gwen have to give him like an impromptu, like full sex ed unit.
Well, I like to imagine Quentin Beck as the French
that's how
narrator.
You thought that babies were made? I don't know how to do a French accent.
He's just over there. He's helping them
Bruce
go
Campbell.
through with it. He's like holding up a baguette. He's like, now you see.
Now you see when I put the baguette in the wine glass, that is the penis and the vagina. Now do you understand?
When does kissing get involved?
Most of the time you don't do it.
No, that's
not with the women that I've hired. I'm very bad at accents.
The women I've hired. Wow. Quentin Beck just only has sex with prostitutes.
It's like, so wait, when does the kissing happen? You see, I cannot afford the women that are willing to do that. That is not in the budget.
So then the next day, they go to the police because they have a lead on some important information that they should have really addressed prior.
Yeah.
That being, by the way, we lied to you. This is the guy that killed your husband.
Well, it's not that they lied. They were just mistaken. But my problem with this scene is the timing of it. Not the timing within the plot or anything, but like, so they've known for seemingly a while, right? Like they didn't like just find out earlier
because he was arrested
today.
on murder charges. Yeah, like Flint Marko was arrested on the murder charges of Uncle Ben. Well, at least that's what I've been led to believe.
He was arrested at least for robbery, but then, or for like Grand Theft Auto or something. I don't know. But then he later confessed to his cellmate that he killed Uncle Ben. But my problem with the scene is, so they tell the Captain Stacy tells Peter and Aunt May, like a little bit after they find out, like it's been like an amount of time.
It's been about a week since Sandman got out.
Yeah, but he tells them before they actually have him in custody. So like they wait until he's out, but they don't wait until he's back in. Like it doesn't make much sense to me.
I understand that they were thinking like, oh, he'll probably tell them like as a safety thing in case he goes after them. But at the same time, fucking Detective Stacy is a dumbass. He should have alerted them the moment he got out. It's like, hey, by the way, he should have told them the moment they found out about the whole like, oh yeah, this is the guy that killed him. Because like, you know, I feel like that's something you'd want to know about.
Yeah.
Oh, is the guy that murdered my husband, you know, still out and about?
Nah. They didn't need to know until they needed to know.
And I think it's at this point that the black suit comes into play, right?
Not quite yet. So we get a scene pre-black suit where MJ's like, hey, I heard what happened. And I just want you to know that, like, even though things aren't the best between us, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. Peter's like, I don't need your help.
Wow.
Yeah. So she just leaves. Like, he drives her away. And then he just stays up, like, listening to the police scanner. He ends up laying down. And then we get the black suit.
That's right. And, yeah, so then Spider-Man says the N-word.
Yep. Yeah, because he's black now. It's okay. He can do it.
But, so yeah, they have a whole thing where he's like, you know, he's like, you know, just swinging around with the black suit and shit.
And he's like, damn, this is like straight heroin.
Yeah, this is great. I love this. So he kills the guy.
Not yet. Then we, hold on just a second.
I'm sorry, I just want to get to that part because he goes from like, this suit feels nice to I'm gonna kill this man.
Yeah, I'm gonna commit
a crime.
This guy, what I hear is I'm gonna commit murder.
We're gonna commit murder.
We're gonna kill you.
Wait, hold on. Are you guys doing a podcast right
now? That's why we're in the podcast chat.
Our number one fan has joined.
I'm sorry. I'll leave.
Great. Now we have to pay him an appearance fee.
Oh God! Okay.
We have to include him in the credits now.
I'm calling the police.
Well, I know that you guys after the podcast, I know that you guys will stay in here and talk for a bit.
You've sat through.
We don't talk outside of the show.
Yeah. What the fuck are you going on about?
We're not friends. This is just a facade. For the money. We do this for money.
Yeah. We both get 60 cents out of this.
Dude, what the fuck? I want 60 cents.
Get fucked.
You know what? No. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm in this goddamn podcast now. Split me your 60 cents. Give me 30 cents.
I'll fucking split you a bullet.
How the fuck are you gonna cut a bullet in half?
With your head. I don't know if you heard it, but I just flicked back the hammer on my revolver.
Aim it at your monitor and shoot.
No.
I dare you.
That's a bad idea. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop interrupting you guys.
So we're at so what part are we at now? He's in the black suit.
Yeah, after Peter gets the black suit and he's like, oh, this is so awesome. He then visits Dr. Connors, who's like, hey, this stuff is straight up toxic. Like, this is possibly the worst organism I have ever seen. And he's like, whatever you do, don't like wear it as a costume because it'll like turn you into a huge misogynist. And it does.
This will turn you into a misogynist. Don't wear it.
And I mean, that's exactly
I'm going
what
to
happened.
wear it.
Hold on just a second. I'll be right back. You get a little Jerry's Corner.
Oh boy. Okay. So let's talk about our feelings today, class. Your entire nervous system, with pinpoint precision and cutting and careful removal, can be taken out of your body and put into another body. And the thing that really matters with what I just said is that you are only your brain. The fleshy bits only matter to the other fleshy bits. you can theoretically stave off dying through the constant use of entire nervous system transplants. All you have to do is find someone who is younger than you, but has a big enough skull to fit such a big brain. And that's what they don't want you to know about. That's what they're trying to keep from you. That's the secret to immortality. Do you really think Prince Harry looks like Skeletor? On like, because like he looks like that because he's biding his time for one of his nephews to get close enough so they get a little hairy inside them too. And by a little, I mean his whole fucking brain. That's what he's going to do. I mark my words. You ever wonder why like half like the rich people are all just the same evil guy? It's because they are. Because they're swapping each other's fucking brains. Donate your body to me, and I'll prove it. This Jerry Corner is endorsed entirely by illegal organ harvesting. Come to the black market, the only market we're not allowed to talk about. But also, though, it's like there's some seriousness to what I'm saying, though. Not in the terms of like swapping over to like different human bodies, but with the premise of like robotic augmentations, for example. Yes. Like, lop up an arm and replace it with a robot.
All right, I'm back. Speaking of lopping off arms, so Peter's talking to Dr. Connors.
Yeah, and he cuts off his arm.
Yep, that's what happens. And then we get the lizard, and
that's our fifth villain of the movie.
So Dr. Connors is basically like, yeah, this stuff is straight up toxic. It'll kill you. Once it binds to a host, it's very hard to get it off. And Peter's like, cool, I'm gonna fight crime in it. So there's a bank robbery that Peter hears about on the police scanner. He goes out in the black suit, and then he sees Sandman getting away. But then the worst character ever shows up, Eddie Brock, and he's like, ooh, Spidey, love the new outfit. You don't look nearly as much of a fat ass in this one. And he's trying to take pictures, and Spider-Man webs up the camera, smashes it, which is the most satisfying moment in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Rips out the grate, jumps into the sewers, and Eddie Brock whips out his spare camera because of course he has a spare camera, and he takes some photos of the scenery, which will come into play later.
The scene of the crime.
And then after that, that's when we get Spider-Man Peter Parker attempting to brutally murder a man made out of sand.
Yeah. So they get in a fight in the metro tunnels where I think it's implied Sandman's been using it as his base of operations.
I think that's just where he escapes to.
Yeah.
I don't think he really has a base of operations. He doesn't seem like the guy that would have one.
Well, where's he keeping all the money he steals? Is he just taking it to that apartment? That poor woman's apartment, just leaving bags of stolen bank notes?
Honestly, it's not very clear if he ends up actually getting away with any money at any point in the movie.
That's a good point. But so they have an extremely brutal fight scene.
Yeah.
In which all of the gore is done only to Sandman because they can just have him regrow it through sand and there's no blood. However, you do get to see a man get his entire head like shaved in half by a fucking train.
Yep, like a cheese grater.
Like what heroes do. Spider-Man shoves a man into a train.
He Dremels half of his face off.
But he keeps coming back, and Spider-Man's like, how the fuck am I going to beat this guy? So he gets him wet and he melts him.
Yep, and he to his knowledge, Sandman is now dead, and he's like, oh, I'm so dark now because I killed a guy, and I avenged Uncle Ben. And he comes out of the sewers.
It's like, what was it? His one-liner is just good riddance.
Yeah, that's what he says. And then he comes
After,
out of the sewers.
witnessing a man melt screaming.
Of course. He comes out of the sewers after that moment. And he looks in the mirror, and you know how his haircut is. He has like the basic white guy nerd haircut.
And he upgrades to emo white guy.
To signify how much he has turned into a monster and a bad boy. he brushes his hair down so he has bangs.
My favorite thing about this is you can see the exact moment he goes from being a beta male into a sigma male.
Basically, yeah.
So then this new Chad Peter Parker strolls around Chad Town.
Oh, we get also another very satisfying moment because landlords are the worst. Everyone knows it. And, it's like a bit where Mr. Ditkovich is like, rent, and, in the voice he does. And Peter's like, I don't have your rent money, Mr. Ditkovich. I'm sorry. But in this scene, we see up to this point in the movie, Peter's door doesn't work. So you got to like lift it and open it. It's just it's a hard time. And Mr. Ditkovich is like, rent. And Peter's like, you'll get your rent when you fix this damn door. In a moment of rage. And honestly, I love that moment, and I don't know if it's ironic or not. My love for it.
You have to really think about it.
I find that moment so satisfying because it's like, yeah, fuck that door.
Fuck that door.
Fuck this door in particular. And Mr. Ditkovich is like, he is a good boy. He's probably in some trouble. And it's like, first of all, no, he's not. He's not a good dude. He's a dude that does good things.
Yeah. Peter sucks.
Yeah.
And then I forget, is this the part where they have the montage of him on the phone?
Not quite yet.
Cutting to him on the phone. Okay.
This is a problem that I have with the movie where it goes back and forth where it's like Peter's a good guy. No, he's not. He's in the symbiote. No, now he's a good guy for a moment and he's regretting his actions. Oh, nope, he's back at it. So we get the first moment where Peter's like, am I doing the right thing? Where he talks to Aunt May and he's like, oh yeah, I killed Uncle Ben's murderer. And by the way, we are just a little over halfway through the movie and it feels like barely the end of Act 1.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say the pacing for this movie is terrible.
It's like, hey, I killed Uncle Ben's murderer.
And she's like, hey, don't do that.
She's like, Spider-Man killed the guy that killed Uncle Ben. No, he didn't. Spider-Man's a good lad.
And he is like,
Peter Parker's like,
fuck.
Oh, what have I done? Oh, well, more black crack.
And so anyway, I want to try to breeze through the rest of this because this is so drawn out. This whole movie. So anyway, we get MJ. She's not talking to Peter. She hangs out with Harry for a bit. They make omelets together. They dance. They honestly have way more chemistry than Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire ever had.
And speaking about chemistry and omelets, you forgot the part where everyone's favorite resident, butterfly eater, I forgot his name, Willem Dafoe has his cameo.
What?
Where he talks to his son.
Butterfly eater?
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. You ever see pictures of him smiling? You tell me he doesn't think, delicious butterflies when he smiles like that. Man's an actual fucking goblin.
Good point.
Anyways, perfect casting. They should have just painted him green.
Yeah, they hang out. MJ kisses him, and then she's like, I should go. And then he just becomes an alcoholic for a little bit, and he sees visions of his father. Then he remembers everything. And he's like, well, fuck, I guess I have to commit murder.
Well, fuck, I gotta kill Peter Parker now.
So he threatens Mary Jane, and he's like, hey, if you know what's good for you, you gotta break things off with Peter. So she calls him up.
She does that.
And he comes dressed as dweebish as ever. And they have the scene on the bridge where Peter's like, I brought you flowers and I want to marry you. And she's like, fuck off.
Fuck off, Peter.
She has every opportunity to be like, hey, Harry is threatening me, so like, can you keep me safe for now until you like sort things out with him, because I don't want to get killed. And he could be like, yeah, I mean, I can just beat him up real quick and it'll be over like that. But instead she's like, I gotta end things with you, you know, I got no choice. I really think that's just an honest character moment, because like I wouldn't want to be with him.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. The entire
She's
time
like, oh
you're
no,
making it
I have
out
to
like,
break up with him. Oh no.
yeah, I think the reason she didn't like try to like, hey, he's holding me hostage, we can take him out. She's just like, finally a way out.
Honestly. And then Harry and Peter meet up at the diner, and Harry's like, hey bud, I've been fucking your girl. And Peter's like, well, by golly, I don't like that one bit. No, sir, I don't. And
It's like, strawberries.
yeah, he's like, oh, I can't handle this, and he leaves. And then we get the just incredible moment where Peter is he looks back and he sees Harry in the diner, and he's like, he's got that shit-eating grin.
And then a bus passes by and he fucking vanishes.
Yep. He I can only imagine he like quickly ducks under the table.
I don't know why they did that.
And that is the second time that Peter is driven to darkness. And he embraces the symbiote, meets up with Harry, and he's like,
And beats up with Harry.
I don't think he doesn't say this to Harry, I don't think, but I was gonna say, he says, I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. He might say that to Harry. He says that to Harry or Eddie. Either way, I love that line so much.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your
eye. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
No, what he says to Harry is he beats the shit out of him. He's like bleeding. He's like,
gonna cry.
What's the matter, Goblin Jr.? Gonna cry? And he throws a fucking hand grenade at his face.
Well, to be fair, Harry is throwing the grenade at him. Then he just webs it and throws it back at him.
Yeah, but like,
still, he could have just dodged it.
Yeah, he could have just thrown it the other way. He intended to kill
Gonna cry,
Harry.
Gonna shit your pants, gonna piss and cum.
Harry's just on the floor melting. Ah! The only way to make that scene even better is if Peter just started pissing on him.
Oh, my other favorite line from this scene is when Harry's like, I'm gonna kick your little ass. I don't know. There's just
kick your little ass.
I don't like, I'm gonna kick your ass. That's one thing, but I'm gonna kick your little ass. That has such a sexual energy to it.
It's also very demeaning too. He doesn't have a nice thick ass. He's got a shitty little ass. I'm gonna kick your ass. It's so small. Fuck you, Peter. Why do you have such a flat ass?
I'm gonna kick your fucking dump truck ass.
So then the Chad gets beaten by the virgin Peter Parker.
Yep. Gonna cry. Gonna shit your pants. Gonna piss.
Chad New Goblin gets blown up by emo Peter Parker. And I think it's at that point Peter's like fucking around with the black stone, and then he's like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't wear this.
No. After that, we get the part where Peter is out and about and he sees, oh, Spider-Man's a thief. This just in at the Daily Bugle. Right. So he's like, oh, I'm not gonna stand for this one bit. No, sir, by golly, I'm not. So he shows up at it's a big, party at the Daily Bugle. Eddie got the staff job. He's like, you're trash, Brock. You're fucking human garbage. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Isn't it also revealed that the picture Eddie has is Photoshop?
Yep. Yeah, he smashes him into the framed photo. Then he goes into JJ's office, and he's like, Eddie's trash. Fire his ass. Look, he stole my photos and just turned down the color saturation like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when we get the everything is going great for Peter, but he's a misogynist montage.
Also, you forgot the best line. Eddie Brock gets fired. Great line right there. And then the shit post great line. He's like, you want forgiveness, go to church or some shit like that.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me, because that is one of my favorite lines from this movie. You want forgiveness? Get religion.
Get religion. And so Eddie takes that to heart and goes to church.
He literally goes to church and he's like, hey, God, do you take requests? I want you to, end a life of a guy that inconvenienced me.
Can you kill Peter Parker? Which, I think a lot of people have probably asked.
Oh, for sure. But like, you gotta earn that. You gotta be around him for more than a week. That's another thing. But like, Eddie, like, ideally he would be a character that you can sympathize with a little bit. But everything bad that happens to him is his own fault. Yeah,
I don't sympathize with Eddie.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, when I really liked this movie because I love Spider-Man, I felt bad for every one of the bad guys except for Eddie Brock. When he died, I laughed. I was 7.
Yeah, honestly. Even when he dies, it's his fault, because he's like, no, I want the symbiote. Like, at first, every other time that I watched it, I was like, oh, the symbiote is sucking him back in. But no, he jumps in.
Yeah. No, he's like, no!
But yeah, at that point, that's when we get the scene where we get finger gun dancing Peter.
Yes.
With a really great song, really horrible dancing. And I get what they're going for. Peter's like acting like what he thinks a cool guy looks or acts like. It's just very cringe.
It is. It's a bit cringe, in it, bro.
Rather cringe, isn't it?
But no, my favorite thing that was happening after this scene, he goes into a diner where Gwen Stacy's there.
Yep.
And he says another great line, now dig on this. Oh. And then he starts snapping his fingers.
That gets me. It gets me so much. It gets me every time. Yeah, so
this
Peter Parker, this is Black Suit Peter, to be fair. So this is not just regular asshole Peter. This is misogynist Peter. So he goes to the jazz club that MJ is waitressing and singing at. And that's when we get dig on this.
And then he womanizes his best friend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he really is in the wrong completely. Like, I feel bad for Gwen, honestly. I feel so bad for her. She was done dirty. Because it's like, first of all, she's dating Eddie, so she's obviously not in a good place.
And now she's got her competition, jackass emo Peter Parker.
Yeah. So she's like going out on a date with who she assumes is a nice guy due to like, how he's been previously, without having an alien attached to him, sucking away all of his good qualities. And so she's like, oh my God, this guy cares about me so much. He's taking me out to a nice jazz club and, he's dancing with me. It's so awesome. He's so cool. And then she realizes, oh, he's using me.
Oh, this is revenge fucking.
This is revenge, very sexual dancing.
Which,
by the way, another scene that does not fit the rest of the movie. It feels very West Side Story.
Yeah.
And Peter starts playing the piano and dancing. Which, by the way, has Peter ever demonstrated any kind of musical ability? Because he becomes instantly really good at jazz piano for no reason.
Well, yeah, it's because Spider.
I guess.
It's because of the spider totem.
That's when he accidentally hits Mary Jane and he's like, maybe I'm making poor decisions.
It's like, maybe this isn't a good idea.
Yeah, so
he goes to so he takes his own advice too.
He wants forgiveness.
He goes to church.
He wants forgiveness, so he gets religion. And guess who happens to be there? Eddie Brock. And he's like, hey, I don't know if that's I don't know if this is how it works. Peter Parker. Yeah, he's like,
no, I've never done this thing before, but does this how it works?
I don't know like what your rate is, but like I'm assuming if you can create life, you can take it away. I don't know what you're charging, but I'm willing to pay it.
Just kill Peter Parker.
End Peter Parker's life, and the life of a man that I only met like a week ago, who has called me out on my illegal actions and has made me face consequences for things that I did.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
Peter peels off the suit
and it falls onto Eddie Brock.
Yep. And then the worst bit of body horror in the movie, we see the symbiote bonding with Eddie.
Yeah.
And it like goes into his mouth and shit. I hate it when things go into people's mouths.
Oh, you're gonna hate the movie Slither then. That's all that movie's about.
Oh, I'm never gonna see it then. Thank you for warning me.
I think it's made by the guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, James Gunn?
Yeah. James Gunn made it. It's a dark comedy.
You wouldn't get my sense of humor. It's just, I'm into dark comedy,
No, this is like actual dark comedy. It's horror comedy. I'm sorry, it's the more apt word for it. It's not like just racism. It's actual like, yeah, this is funny because it's fucking weird and stupid.
Makes sense. So yeah, the next scene that we get, Aunt May is visiting Peter again, and she's like, hey, what's up? Because like, I haven't heard from you.
You've been
How's
an
Mary
asshole
Jane?
lately.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I couldn't even begin to tell you how bad things are with MJ. And she's like, oh, why? And he's like, oh, it's complicated. And she's like, hey, you're a good person. And he's like, I guess.
I guess. The audience also agrees with that statement of, I guess.
Yeah, so Sandman and Venom then team up. And
it is such a bare bones team up too. It's just, hey, you want to kill Spider-Man? I want to kill Spider-Man. Let's kill Spider-Man. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I also love this. I don't know if it's because the guy that plays Sandman is just bored half the time, or if Sandman actually just doesn't give a fuck. But the whole scene, he just kind of feels like he's just done with it. He's like, yeah, all right.
It feels like a
go.
very loose alliance.
Like that, I guess we're gonna kill him.
But yeah, so then so Venom kidnaps Mary Jane, has her all webbed up, and Peter's like, hey, sorry I blew up your face earlier, Harry Osborn, my former best friend.
And then Harry Osborn turns around with his fucked up face. He's like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah, so Harry's like, fuck off, like, dude. I am not, that's what not doing this. Peter's like, okay.
You come here asking for help after you blew up my face.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And then we get
we get an old man with dementia shows up.
We get what resulted in the best blooper reel out of any movie ever. The scene where
the family butler
Bernard
reveals that it was he who killed the Green Goblin.
Yeah, so for context, viewers, listeners, I will definitely link this down below, but check out the segment of the blooper reel for Spider-Man 3 with the old man that plays the butler, just trying to get through this line where he's trying to say the blade
that pierced your father's heart came from his own glider.
Yeah, the blade that killed your father came from his own glider, and he takes like a few tries to get it right, and everyone just gets progressively more funny.
The blade that pierced his arm came from your glider.
The blade that pierced your father's body came from his gilder.
The blade that pierced your father's heart came from my glider. And I just love that one. The blade that
killed your father came from your glider.
I love the implications of the one line where it's like, oh yeah, he's also a Green Goblin.
The blade.
I killed your father.
The blade that pierced your body
killed
from my glider.
From your father. The blade that killed your father. The blade that pierced your body came from your father.
The blade that pierced my body came from Spider-Man's glider.
The blade that pierced his heart came from our glider.
The blade.
So
The blade that pierced my ears came from the attendant at Claire's.
The blade that pierced his glider came from your heart. And that's the moral of Spider-Man 3.
Now, look, I know blooper reels traditionally aren't considered canon, but in my head canon for Spider-Man 3, that definitely happened. It took a solid 5 to 10 tries for the butler to get the line right. Like the blade that killed my father. No, that doesn't sound right. The
blade that killed my father came from your glider.
The blade that
whips out a sword.
My glider came from his father. No, the blade that fathered my kill glided from his cum.
So anyway, after the butler, who's been hiding this information, like everyone's just hiding this shit from Harry. Like they know what's going on with him, but they're just like, nah, this will work itself out on its own. And like the butler only steps in because Harry said no to the guy he thinks murdered his dad. And he's like, hey Harry, by the way, this is what actually killed your father. And I just really wanted him to be like, fuck, you're fired. Go away. You're the reason
the
my face
that
is
fathered
melting.
Your blade came from gliders.
My body. James Bond.
So anyway, then we get...
So Peter goes and gets his ass handed to him by Goopy Spider-Man and the CGI monster from the original Shadows of Colossus.
Yep. And we get another great J. Jonah Jameson moment where he doesn't have a photographer because, you know, Eddie's, you know, and Spider-Man is elsewhere, or Peter is elsewhere, I mean. So he's like, hey, kid, you want a job? Because he sees a kid with the camera and she's like, why would I want a job? He's like, well, fuck it. I'll take the camera. And she's like, okay, $100. He's like, fuck, you drive a hard bargain. He's like, deal. And he's like, why is this not taking pictures? She's like, film's extra.
Yeah.
That's so another, every moment with JJ is incredible.
With JJ the Jet Plane is always improved by J.K. Simmons' expert voices.
God, that show was so weird. I forgot about it.
It's in your brain now, that face.
Damn it.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we basically get the whole fight. It's whatever. Then we get
fighting
Peter
Green
and
Goblin.
Yeah, Green Goblin shows
grenade.
up. It's a big fight, whatever. Then we get after everything is cooled down, Peter and Sandman are talking and he's like, I didn't mean to kill your uncle, and he is like, okay.
That's okay. What were you doing again? Bye. He just turns into a sand cloud.
No, see, I was only trying to
rob another bank.
I was only trying to rob your uncle. I didn't mean to like kill him or nothing. And he's like, oh.
Peter then holds up a crucifix. Don't worry, fam. I got religion.
You know what?
I forgive
you. You know, I wish that he would have said that line. You want forgiveness? Get religion.
Shoot Sandman.
That's so good. You know what? Before I die, I will unironically use that line at some point in my life.
Do it. In the middle of a fight, beat the shit out of someone. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
You want forgiveness, get religion.
Get religion. You kick him in the teeth. Such a terrible line, but so good,
it's so good. So yeah, then Harry dies because he
Harry dies in his collective lover's arms.
Like,
gets stabbed by his own glider.
The blade that killed your body came from Venom's glider. He's like, what? Oh, that didn't happen yet.
That happens later. I'm sorry. What?
He has reverse dementia. He can't remember anything that happened, but he knows the future.
Hey, he's just like, fuck, I want to stay home today. Thanks, old man. Sorry, Pete. I'm living today.
So anyway, that was a very long summary.
And now we get to remake the movie.
God, this is such a long episode.
Don't worry, we'll go short. It's only one movie. How long could it take?
Oh yeah, just another 40 minutes.
So firstly, what I just want to say is, for the revision of Spider-Man 3, remove Eddie Brock and Venom.
Yeah, so
Like,
I have thoughts on that. First, my first note that I had was recast Peter Parker. Literally anyone. Please no more Tobey Maguire. And I just wrote down some of my favorite like moments, like a couple of my favorite lines that Tobey Maguire just only he can deliver him in that, or deliver those lines in that specific way. Like, and this was in Spider-Man 2, but just when MJ is talking to him and he just says, "Oh boy, yeah." I don't remember what the context was, but when he's just like, "Oh boy,
she
boy,
finally
yeah."
agreed to have sex with him.
I think she says like, "Hey, do you want to hang out or something?" And he's like, "Oh boy, yeah." And my other favorite line that just only Tobey Maguire could deliver in such a way is, "I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye."
Now, here's the thing, though. I wouldn't say recast them. I'd say leave the castings as they are, because the problem isn't the castings, in my opinion. It's just what all the shit that they threw into this one movie, because they've got so many conflicts that they have to build up for Peter Parker, and it just creates him into this cesspool of a person. Like, whereas before, he's not a good person, but he's not as bad as he is in 3.
I guess.
Like, you take the Peter Parker from Spider-Man 2, and you compare him to the one in Spider-Man 3. The one in Spider-Man 3 is just an actual piece of shit. Like, even without the black suit.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
whereas in 2, he's just kind of a jackass, but he's still kind of likable.
The vibe that Tobey Maguire gives off as Peter Parker, like, you know, the Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, when Jimmy Neutron is working at McSpanky's, the sodium chloride
I know what
thing.
you're going to say. Yeah,
he is that clip, but turned into 3 movies.
Yeah, I feel that.
Oh, there's some sodium chloride on the floor.
He thinks he's great at being smart, but he's terrible.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. That reminded me. Yeah, I was going to say, after you were like, when we were talking about how cringe he is. So, like, you know how earlier you mentioned, like, oh, Mysterio just put all of his points into charisma?
Yeah,
it's like the opposite. Peter put all of his stats into intelligence, and then he just got a huge level up in fighting, but 0 charisma.
It's true. Oh,
not to mention he's homophobic canonically.
Yeah, no, I forgot about Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, Spider-Man is canonically homophobic. Do with that what you will, but it's true.
At least that version. I know they're gonna change it in the new comics. He's probably like, my best friend's gay. I kissed him.
I'm gay. I kissed him.
I kissed Deadpool once. How am I gay?
I kissed myself from a different universe.
You know, I made passionate sex with Doc Ock. We were in the same body.
I would start reading comics again if that happened.
But so yes. So I heard people in the other room, and I can't help but think, like, I wonder what they're thinking right now with the line, "I just had passionate sex with Doc Ock." So either way, so Spider-Man,
it would put a lot of added context into our group cosplay from when we went to Comic-Con a couple years ago.
Oh my god, no. But anyway, so my idea for how to fix Spider-Man 3, though, is we leave the castings, we just remove Eddie Brock and Venom entirely.
Yeah.
And have the story more focused on, like it's split into 2 halves. Like, the first half is dealing with Sandman. Or, no. It's, well, okay, when I say it's 2 halves, I mean, like, there's 2 storylines going throughout it.
Like an A and a B plot.
Dealing with, yeah, the A plot is the Sandman shit. Well, okay, the A plot really is going to be mostly about Green Goblin, because that's where most of the drama is. Because you need to deal with the Harry situation. Because like you got to the point where he's Green Goblin now.
Yeah, I have some notes on that.
So you wanna do your notes, or you want me to continue my thing?
Well, I'll let you continue for a little bit, and I'll just hop in because I have some notes about Venom and Harry.
All right, but so the next thing though that I do is Sandman. You know, like he'd be the B plot, so he'd be basically as he is in the.
By the way, I do also have that in my notes too. I do think Sandman is a worthy inclusion as like a side villain, like a Freak of the Week style, like opening villain, I guess.
Yeah, because like Sandman never really had much grounds as a character. Like he doesn't have any like real big personal connection with them. Except for what they did, which I changed. I wouldn't make Sandman be the guy that shot Uncle Ben.
Oh yeah,
I understand why they did that.
In my version, I would have like no backstory for him. Just be like a thug that got powers, like in Spectacular Spider-Man, which I know I reference that show a lot, but it's just so good with how it handles characters for the most part.
I'd still just say leave the whole sympathetic thing there. Just make him, more of a human character, but at the same time, he's still a bad guy.
Well, I just feel like that takes away, like, any time that you're spending developing the B villain takes away from time that could be spent on the A villain. And the movie's already close to 2.5 hours.
We'll kill off his daughter. Gotcha. So next stage though, Sandman, same thing. He just wants money, so he has superpowers and he does all the stuff. But the main plot's gonna mostly focus on Peter and Harry's new rivalry. I also want to change the Green Goblin costume because I understand what they're going for with the design, but his costume doesn't scream like Green Goblin. It screams
like snowboard video game alternate skin.
It looks like what a bad guy from Power Rangers would be wearing.
It looks like my OC from Sonic Forces.
Oh my god.
No, I actually want to jump in with my take on the whole Harry situation.
Yeah, go.
So I noticed watching the movie that there are really good aspects to Venom and Harry Osborn as villains.
Yeah.
I just don't like the new Goblin, and I don't like Eddie Brock. So you
want to put them at the same person?
Yeah, one change that I would make is I would remove Eddie Brock entirely from the plot, and I would give the symbiote. I would transfer Venom to Harry, because
that's actually a pretty neat thing to do.
Yeah, like I noticed, like, watching Spider-Man 2 and then Spider-Man 3, like that's the trajectory that he is heading in.
Is becoming the bad guy, his like arch rival.
Yeah, Harry, I believe, in Spider-Man 3 should serve as sort of I guess not like an allegory or a metaphor, but I guess he should show Peter what happens when you let, I guess, anger consume you, because you would still have Peter in the black suit for a bit, maybe have him like just brutally wail on Sandman. And that's how you can get Peter like not necessarily pulling his punches, but not, murdering people in cold blood. But you still get to have him get like really pissed off and just consumed by anger, and he's just going ham. Or maybe just have him go off like hard on a mugger or something, just, and then he realizes, and this is another note that I had, I absolutely love every interaction with him and Aunt May. So I think Aunt May should really be she should be the driving force for what ultimately pulls him out of the darkness and motivates him to get rid of the symbiote, which she kind of is, like, at a couple different points. But I think that Peter should just be in the symbiote and he should be consumed by the darkness for just a solid chunk. It shouldn't be like a back and forth thing. So he gets the symbiote, he's like, he's an asshole, and then Aunt May is like, Spider-Man doesn't kill. And by the way, she knows that he's Spider-Man. I just want to get that.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear. It's very heavily like hinted at that she knows that he's Spider-Man. I just wanted to mention that. So she's like, Spider-Man doesn't kill people. You don't kill people, Peter. I know that you wouldn't because you're just Peter Parker and you're not Spider-Man and you don't have superpowers. But hypothetically, if you did, you wouldn't kill people and you would be a good person and you would look out for the little guy.
Yeah.
And so then he would be like, fuck, you're right. And then Venom would move on to Harry, who at this point doesn't have someone that can really pull him back like that. And he doesn't feel motivated to pull himself back from being consumed by rage and revenge and hatred.
Because all he wants to do is kill Peter at that point. Yeah.
So he serves, and by the way, Peter, in my ideal version of the movie, even in Spider-Man 2, he would insist, no, I did not kill your father, but Harry wouldn't believe him. And that also serves as more, I guess, that serves as more character development for Harry, or not, maybe not development, but it shows more of his character, because it shows that despite his best friend telling him, look, your father was the Green Goblin, I got receipts, he killed himself, he still feels this rage towards Peter, despite all of the evidence pointing to the fact that Peter was only acting in self-defense. So he's beyond saving. That's how we get, I guess, Peter fighting and ultimately killing Venom, if we're still going to do that, without it also feeling you're killing someone that could be saved. And then Harry/Venom acts as like a dark shadow of what Peter could be had he not had Aunt May to pull him back, or had he not seen the error of his ways.
I will admit, yeah. I mean, I think your idea might be better than mine, because mine was basically just like not the same thing, but just him as Green Goblin.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see the whole new Goblin thing adding much to the plot. And by the way, in my version, he wouldn't get amnesia, because the whole amnesia arc. It felt like Changnesia in Community. Great show, watch it. It's on Netflix. But it felt like that, like the same thing, where it's like, why would you give a character amnesia if not just to kind of put them to the side for a little bit while you figure out what to do with them?
That's basically what happened. Like, everyone that talks about it is like, oh yeah, this is the reason they did this. They just needed to give it time for all the other shit. That's why I don't want to do that. With mine, I was thinking like, start of the Sinister Six kind of shit, with Green Goblin and Sandman teaming up at the end. Like, Spider-Man beats them because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But something like that, like start the team up and shit. That way, when you start introducing the other ones like Vulture and Electro and Mysterio and crap, kind of builds up to sequels.
I love the idea of doing the Sinister Six. I just
the problem with that though is, if you want it done nice, you either do a 60-hour long game where you understand the backstory of the characters, because it's essentially based off of the comics.
Oh yeah, you got to build up to it for sure.
Even the game, you
game,
release separate movies.
Yeah, even the game, Spider-Man PS4, that I like. It doesn't introduce the character, like it doesn't give like their origin story and everything. Like, you're not seeing like, oh, it's a common criminal, now he's the Scorpion, now it doesn't do that. Like, these are pre-established characters. These are characters that have been around. Peter already fought them, and now they're teaming up. Like, so even then, that however long the game is, it's still not even all the time that it takes to develop the characters, because they're already there. We're just putting them together. You fill in the backstory from the comics.
It's like what they did with the Spider-Man MCU movie. What was it, Homecoming?
Yeah. They don't really do that.
But for Peter, like, you don't have his whole backstory and stuff, because you already know his backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, the Sandman thing, like, maybe do a similar thing where he's just a guy that shows up and he has powers. We don't need to see his origin story. We don't need to see him become Sandman. He's just a bad guy that has sand powers, and you can get a line like Peter says in the movie, like, "Oh, where do these guys come from? These super villains?" Because it's like a couple years, I believe, between each movie.
Yeah.
So you can just say like, "Oh, super villains. There's a new one every week." Yeah, he should just be a guy that has powers. I think if you diminish his role but still have him be present, you get someone that you get someone that Spider-Man can punch, and you show off his power early in the movies. You see like he knows what he's doing. He's a competent superhero, but you don't need to have like the main villain introduced already for him to do that. He can just be a side guy. Yeah. And also, by the way, I wrote this down so I don't forget. If we don't include his origin story, then we don't have to justify why the scientists would sand nuke a bird.
Yeah, that is also true. I was thinking with if we did it though with Green Goblin like replacement, it would be accurate to the comics because that's what happens after Norman dies. Harry takes up the role, but also, it gives us more room to do like feature length stuff for each of the Sinister Six guys as they come in. Like you could have an entire movie focused around Venom. It's not going to be like how it's like done in that one where, Eddie Brock, they make him the most unlikable piece of shit so you don't like him. So it's satisfying when he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
They could actually, make him a character.
God, I hate Eddie Brock in this movie so much. He doesn't even have the right build.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's a funny thing. That's the thing that you could easily fix it by like what they did in the Venom movie, where Venom just forms around him and becomes this like jacked bodybuilder.
Right, but I mean, even then, Tom Hardy is like he's a muscular looking dude.
Yeah, he was
Bane.
Bad looking. Yeah, that's true.
The kid from that '70s show does not have nearly the level of like physical presence that being Venom requires.
Yeah, but being Eddie Brock, a piece of shit reporter, he has absolutely the right amount.
By the way, speaking of Venom, this is another note that I wrote down. I don't like the idea of the symbiote just coming from space.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with it. Is
I feel like it raises too many questions and it has way too many implications.
Yeah. That's the thing though. It's kind of true to the origin where it's not at all true.
Venom, it's a little bit well, yeah, it's a little bit true to the origin, but
like they try
it's not at all the same circumstance. Because in Venom's origin, it's secret wars. Everyone's in space fighting like different universes or whatever, and Peter comes across this alien thing, this alien goo, and like that's comic book stuff, but
it's dumb.
Taking that and turning it into it's from an asteroid. It's like, from where? Are there more of them? Is there a planet of symbiotes? Now in comic books, like you see that kind of thing all the time. Like in the comics, there is a planet full of symbiotes, but we don't need that in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like what they originally were going to do with Venom, where you know how JJ's got his son up in space.
Oh yeah,
they want to have him bring it down instead of it being an asteroid.
It's maybe not the worst thing, but I still don't think. I think it should be like an Ultimate Spider-Man, where it's like a synthetic kind of thing.
Yeah,
where it's like in Ultimate Spider-Man, Peter's father and I believe Eddie Brock's father were like trying to cure cancer, and they came up with like they invented the symbiote.
They created life.
Yeah. I like the idea of it being created in a lab. Like that doesn't require a lot of explanation. It's like, they're working on something and then this appeared. Instead of the idea that like this is a species of something.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. I don't know. I like the whole JJ's son being Venom for a little bit kind of thing. Or at least just bringing it down.
Maybe. That's what they did in Ultimate Spider-Man. That's what they did in Spectacular Spider-Man.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I believe so. It's something that like latches onto the ship. They bring it down, then they like keep it in a lab.
Yeah. Wasn't that the plot of Venom also?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it, so
You know, we should watch Venom at some point together, and then we should do a podcast like this for it.
yeah, let me see. Is it on anything? Oh, you gotta
You have to
yeah, you
buy
have to
it.
buy it. I don't even know if yeah, you
Gross.
can't rent it.
Oh, you have to own Venom.
Yeah, it's $13. Hold on, let me see if I can get
I don't know.
a DVD of it.
Gotta say it like Al Pacino does. DVD
Well, you can get
on my DVD player.
you can get it for $13 at Target. It looks like
I don't want to spend over $10 on a movie that, you know,
very fair.
is like,
Might be able to find it on eBay
it's like Venom isn't a movie that I would spend over $10 on.
for sure.
The spin-off to the Bayformers movies, Bumblebee, however, I bought that as soon as I saw it because I fucking loved that.
Oh yeah, I
movie.
have that on my Plex server.
You need to watch it because that is honestly a really good Transformers
good
movie,
things.
and it's how they should have done it. Like every other fucking Transformer movie is so shit compared to that because, oh my god.
Yeah.
I know this was supposed to be a Spider-Man 3 thing, but now I just want to talk about how great fucking Bumblebee
Well, we can do
was.
that in a future
Next
retrospective episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to other supporting characters.
Yeah.
I'd
probably
this was my note about MJ. Just make her better. It's
Yeah.
kind of fucked up that MJ like left a guy at the altar
Yeah.
because I think I talked to Ian about this. I don't think you were there for this, but I was talking to Ian about this, and she spends a large portion of Spider-Man 2. You know, she's like, oh, I guess if Peter doesn't want all this, then I'm going to date the astronaut. My son, the astronaut. And so she's like, oh, I'm dating an astronaut. I go to caviar parties, but I don't really like him that much. Guess I'll still marry him, though, even though I'm definitely in love with Peter.
Be mad interesting if Mary Jane was Venom.
Yes. But anyway, yeah, so she spends the movie like with the astronaut. I want to say John Jameson, but I honestly am not sure. But then
It's John.
yeah, so then on their wedding day, she's like, I'm not feeling it. So I'm going to go run away and be with Peter. And he is like, okay, I guess, but like, I'm still Spider-Man. And she's like, oh, that's okay. I believe in you. Go get him, Tiger. I love that you're so heroic. And so he goes and he fights crime and he saves the day and he saves people's lives. And then the next movie, Peter. So she's like, this is pretty early on after, you know, the reviews are coming in and she bombed on Broadway. And he's like, oh, I understand. You know, I get people in the press like talking shit about Spider-Man, saying that I'm a villain. And she's like, this isn't about you. It's about me.
Yeah, what I would do is just remove that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. See, my problem with that, like, I don't mind MJ as a character. Like, I think, and this is something that I had written down about positive things in the movie. It is actually really interesting to see the movie explore MJ's perspective as being someone that's trying to make it, you know, as a singer, as an actress. And, you know, she's also dating someone who's famous. Like, this is a thing that famous people who date each other deal with, where it's like, if you're not really secure with yourself and your relationship, it can be, you know, it can put a strain on your relationship if you're both, you know, trying to be in the public eye and be famous. Cause it's like, what if one of you is more successful than the other? It's interesting to see that play out. But when her character overreacts to moments like that, when he's literally just trying to relate to her struggle and console her, it takes away from moments where she's legitimately frustrated at him.
Yeah. I think when I said remove that, I mean like the whole it all being about MJ, where she's all like, you know, it's not like a good character. It's just kind of like the generic response to everything.
What do you mean?
Like the whole like it's not about you thing. You know?
Yeah. When she says it's not about you, that's a horrible moment. I would scrap that because, like I said, it takes away.
Yeah,
and
what I would do is have it be like a slow burn kind of thing, where it's like it doesn't mess with her at first, but it starts to build up over time.
Yeah, I think it's
like instead of just being like one bit of criticism, like she just like over the course of the entire movie just kind of builds up and shit, and maybe have Peter be a bit more distant because he's dealing with two bad guys. Or include
some of it in Spider-Man 2, which I don't remember if they included a lot of that in Spider-Man 2. I know she was like modeling.
They had a couple things, but I think it was mostly model stuff.
It's something that really should build up over 2 or 3 movies. Which I really do want to see it explored. I want to see the idea of her being jealous of Peter's, I guess, public adoration. But just do it right. Because like another problem that it creates is when she gets mad at Peter just for being Spider-Man. Like when the crane is crashing into the building and Peter's like, oh shit, I gotta go like rescue people. She's like, fucking go, I guess. You don't care about me or whatever. It's like, what are you supposed to do with like being Peter, being Spider-Man? What are you supposed to do in that moment? Because like it puts him in a really tough spot because it's like either he saves lives or he consoles his girlfriend. Either way, he loses, because if he goes saves lives, then she's mad at him. But if she stays with her, people die. And it really makes MJ look like she doesn't care about innocent people that would die if Peter didn't act. Because it's like, what if you were married to a firefighter, right? And there was a fire down the road and he had to go put it out, but you're like in the middle of discussing something, or, you're trying to tell him about your day, and then he has to go and put out the fire. Are you going to be mad at him for that?
Yes, I would call upon all curses to that man. How dare he go and do his job?
I understand being upset about it, but it seems like she's upset at him.
Yeah. That's what I thought would be a good way to do it is instead of her like, lashing out at Peter, blaming him for all of her things, she internalizes it and shit. And then because the thing is though, I like the whole dynamic of Harry ruining Peter's personal life and also his superhero shit. Because like that's such a good like classic villain trope that always just works for me. I love that kind of shit because it's always satisfying when those guys get beaten. And so like Harry could just swoop in and start like when Peter's gone to do whatever Peter says he's doing, Harry's there, and like over the course they naturally build up a better relationship because Harry's at least there for her.
Yeah,
and that just rubs salt in Peter's metaphorical
puts dirt
wounds.
in his eye.
Yeah, there we go. Of course, though, I do later on. I don't want Green Goblin, the new Green Goblin, to just be like a one-off thing. I do like the idea of Harry at least teaming up with Spider-Man at some point because they're supposed to be friends.
Yeah, see, that's a difficult part of having him be Venom. Because
that's why I want to keep him as Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Like he replaces him and he starts doing criminal shit. But then like later on we'll get like a bigger villain like Venom, for instance, and then they team up to fight him.
I'm conflicted on that because I feel like if anyone is going to be Venom, it should be Harry. But Harry is like too good, like, and also James Franco is too good to just kill off like that and not be redeemed.
Yeah. That's why I think if they do it, they should build up Eddie Brock in his own movie.
Yeah.
And make him like an actual character that you can enjoy and you can understand and sympathize with.
What if, and I'm just this is just kind of stream of consciousness. What if, after Harry becomes Venom, you can give him a little bit of some kind of like redemption arc or something, or Peter like pulls him out of it and Harry's like, you're right, I gotta leave this alien goo, and then either the symbiote is acting on its own or it finds a new host or whatever. I don't know, but then you get Harry like busting into Norman's old goblin stuff, and then they team up and fight Venom, whether it be just the symbiote as like a big monster final form kind of thing, or with a new host, maybe. I'm not sure. Or you can just tease Eddie Brock as Venom for the next movie.
I like that. Because that's the thing I want to do is I don't want there to be too many guys in it. Like even having just two antagonists feels like a lot, but with Sandman being there as more like a side villain, I feel like it's okay.
Sandman is more of a set piece or a
like,
plot
I want
device.
The whole, I want Eddie Brock being Green Goblin to be something that's like over the course of a few movies, so he's not just like 2 movies, we'll say, where he's actually Green Goblin fucking up Spider-Man. So that way, like, there's a time where something happens, they have to team up and shit like that.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have it be the whole, the glider came from your father's glider
yeah.
thing. You'd probably something else.
I still want that moment to exist, though, just for the meme.
Yeah, it'd be funny. But no, I like the idea though of there being a Sinister Six team up at some point. Maybe that's what would happen for Harry and Spider-Man to team up.
Maybe
it's like a Sinister Six with Venom in charge or something.
Yeah, but maybe.
Or of course with like characters they built up, because like you need Rhino in there too and Vulture. But that's what the fourth one was going to be. The fourth one was going to be Vulture. So, boom. Maybe he teams up with them at first, but then they start doing like some seriously heinous shit. And he's like, oh, this is kind of fucked up. He has like a realization. It's like, if I go about the path I'm going, I'm just going to turn into a huge fucking monster.
Before we get too much further, I also, on the subject of side characters, I wanted to address this. Gwen Stacy was criminally underused, or I guess misused, in this movie. If you're gonna include her at all, which I question whether you should, you gotta do it right. She can't just be the other woman.
It is very weird that Gwen Stacy is in these movies after Green Goblin's dead. Because even with Harry as the new Goblin, he's not going to kill Gwen Stacy.
There's more to Gwen Stacy than just being killed by the Green Goblin. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's just like, I don't know. It just feels weird having like all the stuff that takes place after her death taking place while she's still alive.
I guess not really. It doesn't really play that much into it. Like, it's not really that important that you got to make sure that she gets killed by the Green Goblin or she doesn't outlive the Green Goblin. I feel like they misused her as a person, as a character. It doesn't really matter when she dies or if she dies in the movies.
Shit, you know what they could do? You remember the police chief in Insomniac's Spider-Man game?
Oh, Yuri Watanabe?
Yuri, yeah. Yeah. They could have it like that, where she she takes over her dad's spot. She trains at the academy.
Maybe. I just don't know. I don't think she should be in the movie. I think she should be saved for a later installment.
Later date. It's weird though, because every time she's in it, she's always also a damsel in distress. Maybe. It's like every woman in Spider-Man's life is the same exact person. Right. It's just someone that accidentally gets attacked by the Green Goblin or Doc Ock or a fucking crane.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult finding a way to put her into the plot that just makes sense and makes sense with the character. Because Peter is with MJ. He's going to be with her. They're not going to end the movie with them split apart.
Yeah. They could build her up more as a character, with the whole Dr. Connors and shit like that. What if, instead of him becoming Lizard, it's her?
Maybe. I don't know. That doesn't add anything to the character, though. It doesn't.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just trying to eyeball things to do with her, because, she's his friend that works in the science lab.
Well,
occasionally.
I really like the dynamic that Peter and Gwen have. I really do like it a lot. It was great in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. It helped, of course, that Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone had incredible chemistry on set, but they have a certain dynamic that Peter and MJ just don't have. And Peter and MJ have a dynamic that I guess Peter and Gwen don't have. I don't really know as much about Peter and MJ as a couple as I do about Peter and Gwen, but they have this distinct sort of energy between them where it's like they're both like geniuses, at least in the
they're made for
like
each
in the
other.
Amazing Spider-Man movies. They're like both like intellectual types, I guess, so they can relate over that.
Yeah.
And in Spectacular Spider-Man, which I know I reference a lot, they have a similar thing where they're into the same stuff, and you know, she's like the nerdy girl next door type, and then Peter and MJ usually have this sort of like more, I guess, feelings based connection. I don't know if that's the right word, but
No, I know what you mean. It's like it doesn't like
it's like
those
just
weird relationships that don't feel like they'll work
it's just
in
a
real
sheer
life.
attraction.
Yeah.
Whereas like Gwen and Peter are drawn to each other by their brains, where Peter
Yeah,
and
there's
MJ
at
are
least
drawn to each other
something
by
they,
their hearts.
Isn't that what love is?
Look, I'm trying really hard to put into words something that's really hard to put into words.
They only like fucking because they both look good.
They do math equations while they have sex.
Yeah. Where Gwen Stacy is actually Spider-Man's friend, Mary Jane is like someone Spider-Man met and thought was kind of cute, and that's the person he's gone with because he's an idiot.
Yeah, he doesn't know just how much.
Like, she's not a bad person. It's just they don't go well together.
He just doesn't know how much ass he could get.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's the thing though about it. Like, if I know we joked around about having Mary Jane become Venom, but she could become a villain of some sort. You know? Maybe she becomes like Venom and all her like negative emotions and
I don't
shit
know.
just kind of like get the better of
I
her.
don't know about that.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something to do because you could totally like replace Mary Jane with Gwen, and it would probably be a better relationship with better chemistry, like you were saying.
Maybe
Like,
just
yeah, it
make them
removes a staple
friends.
character, but
Maybe it doesn't have to be a romantic thing.
nah, it's Spider-Man though.
Oh, right, of course.
He's either fucking them or they're dead.
Of course. But no, seriously
It's
though.
the same goes with his male friends. He's either fucking them or they're dead, or they're his next villain.
Seriously though, like take gender out of it. Why can't Gwen Stacy just be someone that Peter is friends with? That
True.
is his lab partner, and they, you know, are there for each other.
Oh, I had a thought. Okay, so you know, the game, the PS4 game, and how like
I know everything about it.
Otto is all like he's like his friend that helps him build shit all the time. What if like that's what Gwen is, except she doesn't turn into Doc Ock?
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like that's where he goes to get like interesting suit designs and shit, so he can have better fight things. Maybe during the lizard thing, because they both work under Dr. Connors. Maybe she finds out he's Spider-Man because he has to help her and the rest of the science team, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I can help you with this shit." And he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, sure."
Yeah, that's definitely something to save for a later movie or.
Yeah, no, this isn't Spider-Man 3. This is probably gonna be Spider-Man 5 because 4's got the Vulture.
Yeah, I can't think of a way to fit her in properly while doing her justice.
Just like, I don't know, have there be some scenes where like, you know, Spider-Man socializing and then he's being attacked by villains.
Something like that. We can, I mean, just throw something in, I guess, but
like just enough to like help build up the characters for when they actually need to have like the shining moments.
Right. But
because like it's not the main love interest or the villain of that movie, so it's hard to actually put the side characters in good situations.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should start wrapping this up because we've been recording for close to 3 hours now. This might be our longest episode. It definitely is actually. There's no probably
then again,
about it.
There's more content in this one than before. We have like a whole episode at the beginning and then the introspective.
This is definitely one that you want to use the timestamps for, unless you got 3 hours to burn. This one's gonna take up like a week's worth of commutes.
I will say though, this is probably a pretty decent episode.
Oh yeah,
we did, though.
We
got Spider-Man 3 figured out, and I like both of our ideas. I like the whole Harry as Venom being like a twisted version of Peter Parker.
And like you were saying, though, about this being a good one, yeah, I really feel good about this one. I felt awake the whole time.
Yeah, that cocaine really helped, man.
God, every day I imagine the sheer power that I would have if I was on cocaine.
I don't need to imagine. I've lived it.
So anyway, to kind of wrap it up and summarize, let's just quickly go over our main points for improving the movie. So first, make Peter better, make him less cringe. I don't know how to concisely say it, but just make him not awful. I want to recast him more, but I guess you don't have to. Just write him better.
A decent person.
Yeah, make him be a good guy.
Like, and that goes with MJ too.
Make MJ better.
Keep
absolutely.
The whole side plot where she's having like her whole like existential crisis thing going on, but make it less about her like freaking out because it's not about her, and more like she's like, you know, trying to figure out like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? This is all so different and weird and everything, you know? Like make her like an actual human being and not just a generic.
Make her a sympathetic character, or at least more of a sympathetic character, anyway.
Yeah, no, she's sympathetic, but at the same time, it's like, I don't see myself in the shoes of, why did you save 1,000 people when you could have just yelled at me for a few minutes?
Also, make Harry or make Peter and everyone just communicate with Harry, tell Harry stuff, and then make him decide what he's going to do. If he's going to still be New Goblin / Venom / whatever, make that his character moment. Make that a character trait. Make him a dark shadow of what Peter could be if he was to give in to rage.
But I'd still say leave a bit of leeway for him to still become like a good person later on in case you need that. I do like the idea of Harry and Peter reconciling. However you say that word. Yeah, that reconciling later on and like actually like teaming up to like do shit. Because like, come on, Peter needs it. He needs some help. Guy can only cry so many times.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna use Gwen Stacy, if you're not gonna use her right, don't use her at all. Save her for a later movie or later installment.
Like there's like she doesn't have to be his love interest that dies. Like there's other like different characters that you could like replace her with.
Also, like, makes Sandman just a side villain. You don't have to give him a whole you don't have to make him into a whole thing. Just make him a side villain for Spider-Man to punch, because he takes away from the rest of the plot.
Like he's not a bad thing on his own. He was probably the better villain in the third movie. But if you're going to actually try to focus on other bigger villains, Sandman is not the one you want to focus a lot on.
Yeah.
Like he's just a thug with sand powers.
Yeah. And J.K. Simmons is perfect. More of him, please.
Oh yeah. Like that's
Aunt May is incredible.
Point when you have free time, just have J.K. Simmons yelling. More Robbie and not Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Aunt May.
I want to give them a spin-off series. Let them have coffee together. And again, to reiterate,
coffee time with Robbie and Aunt May.
Again, to reiterate, make Peter a good guy. Save him being an asshole for when he actually gets the black suit.
Oh my fucking god! I just had a great idea, Alex. What we could do for the Robbie and Aunt May spinoff? It's a podcast that both. Oh god!
Can we please act that out?
Oh, that would be so. All right,
that's gonna be the post. That's gonna be the post. No voice changers. It's just us. All right, we'll do that for the post-credit stinger. All right.
Oh my god.
So stay tuned after the outro.
Fucking
so
Christ.
Anyway, I think that's everything.
Yeah. Overall, just like know what you want to build your series up to, like firsthand. Don't let the executives, fuck with you.
It's not that Sam Raimi let them. It's that they give him money to make movies, and if he doesn't do what they want, they don't give him money, and he doesn't get to make movies. So I should have said that up top. We are not professional writers. This is just our 2 cents. We understand that there's a lot that goes into making movies, and As a director, Sam Raimi faced a lot of challenges with the studio. I've heard all kinds of horror stories about Sony's management. So Sam Raimi, if you're listening to this, which, I mean, there's an above 0% chance that you are, we love you and we understand.
I am a huge fan of his work. I loved Evil Dead.
I haven't seen it, but I've been meaning
to make more. If you're going to watch it, I recommend watching the second one first. It does a recap of what happens in the first one, and it's more of how the series is moving forward.
All right.
Whereas the first one was a genuine attempt at a horror movie, with some creepy parts and some really disturbing parts, but overall it's just, it's just kind of funky.
All right.
The second one is a horror comedy, so there's like weird, creepy things every now and then, but it's mostly just outrageous, like funny.
Well, that
shit,
sounds awesome.
So. No, you'll love it. Evil Dead is one of my favorite fucking movies.
All right. Well, anyway, closing out the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening to Bold of You to Say. If this was your first time here, first of all, congratulations on making it all the way through. If you like today's episode, if you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button, leave a like if that's something your platform allows. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment telling us what you want us to cover next, or just leave your thoughts down below. Follow us on social media. That's all linked down below. Follow me on TikTok. I've been more active there recently. Follow Jared on Twitter. He tweets stuff sometimes. Follow me on Twitter. I tweet stuff sometimes. I guess most people do if they're on Twitter.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Chiefs. I said I was going to do more like art stuff. I may have lied. I haven't really gotten to art stuff.
You bastard.
However,
you fucking dick.
I'll just put my gamer tag in there.
Yeah, friend us on Xbox.
Friend me on Xbox or on Steam. I play both of them regularly. I'll send Alex the gamer tag so he can just copy and paste. Send me friend requests. I'll love to game with you sometime.
Leave us a review on Podchaser. That's like an IMDb site for podcasts. That's a great way to help out the show. Another great way to help out is to share our clips. Our clips YouTube channel will be linked down below. Tweet those out. Get more eyes and ears on the show. That's an incredible way to help out the show. Or if you don't want to do those, we have a donation link at the very bottom of the description. Either share the clips or pay the fee. That's the law. You have to do it. And I will not be accepting questions after the presentation.
Have a good 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Remember, those are the legal hours you can enjoy this podcast.
It's the law.
We don't make the rules.
We just enforce them.
Good night.
Good 9 a.m. Good
morrow. Good.
All right, now it's time. All right, give us some intro music for the Mary Jane and Robbie Get Coffee Together spin-off podcast.
Now dig on this.
Welcome to the Aunt May and Robbie from the Daily Bugle Get Coffee Together podcast. It's me, Aunt May, from the hit film Spider-Man.
And it's me, Robbie.
Now, hi there, Robbie. So we haven't actually met in any of the movies, so I'd like to introduce myself. I am Aunt May, the aunt of Spider-Man from the hit movie Spider-Man.
Oh, I work with that dude.
Wow, that's so cool. So what's he like? What's he like at work? Because like
annoying.
See, yeah, I could have guessed that because like he's just the worst. Like I had to raise him for years. So like
I don't know how you did it.
I know how he is at home, but I didn't like, I was hoping it wouldn't transfer to his work life, to be honest with you.
I tell you, that guy, he comes in every day. He's like the only guy Jonah ever talks to. And it's annoying, I tell you. I just want to get my paperwork done and go home. I got stuff I got to do. And then Peter comes in, he's like, "Oh, where's Jonah? Where's Jonah?" And then he's crying usually for some reason. Does he have a good home life? Why is he always crying?
Well, at this point, this is post Spider-Man 3, I think. So he doesn't live with me anymore. But I think, he has a landlord, and his landlord is always pestering him for money. And Peter told me, the door doesn't work. And I've been there, and the door it doesn't work. So I don't know what Peter's rent is going towards. I mean, I gave him a 20, and his landlord just took it from him. But, the door still doesn't work.
You're giving Peter money?
Well, it's I worry. I worry.
He gets
about
paid
him.
like $1,000 for every picture he brings in.
He gets paid?
He gets 1,000. Yeah.
I thought this was a volunteer gig.
No. Jonah pays good money for pictures of Spider-Man. It's the only thing he pays for.
Well, shit, I'm getting my money back.
Yeah.
I'm sending him an
invoice.
invoice.
Go break his legs? Let's go beat up Peter.
All right, let's do a spin-off.
He's a decent kid, but
he's a good kid, but he's hustling me.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
He's dealing both sides of the table. All right, another spin-off time. All right, so this is a spin-off of the Aunt May and Robbie from the Daily Bugle Get Coffee Together podcast. This is a Breaking Bad style series where Aunt May and Robbie go around and right the wrongs of the world by breaking people's legs. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for the new spin-off.
Listeners. I'll go get my crowbar. Robbie becomes Shocker after this. That's the tie-in.
Aunt May becomes Venom. And this has been the show. Good 9 a.m. through 9 p.m. You know what?
Alex,
just for this bit, you get to listen after 9.
Alex, no. That's the thing. There's an action figure of Aunt May from that comic where she marries Doc Ock. That's what she turns into. I'll see if I can find a picture of it, because I tell you, when I tell you this is the best Gary Busey action figure I have ever seen.
All right, send it to me, but I gotta go. It's late. It has been a very long time.
I know.
Good night, everyone.
I'm sorry. Good night, people.